Hello. Talkaoke. Yeah, come in. Don't be shy.
Also, we talk about something good.
Well, that's up to you. That.
It's eating people. It's scaring me. That's why people eating people.
Okay, so if people don't know what's happening here, this is Talkaoke pop-up talk show. Everyone is welcome to take a seat around the table of the chat. It implies no commitment whatsoever. Let's come forward. You can do it. You can do it. Let's give them a round of applause. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Just sit there. You can always retract back. Okay. And come and have a seat as well. Come. Okay. So my name's Mikey. Well, let's get some names from around the table. So. It's all about talking into this microphone. So let's just test this out. What's your name? Rick. And
Evie.
And
Stacia.
Jerome.
And come and get involved in this. Come and have. What's your name?
No, thank you.
No.
No.
Give it.
Please, I've said no once.
Okay. All right. That's fine. It's fine. You can give a false name though if you.
I've said no once.
All right.
It's just there for a drink.
Okay. I mean, if you fancy getting involved, you're very welcome to. You're very welcome to. Okay. All right. You're welcome to sit. You're welcome to sit there. All I'm doing is keeping the door open. What's your name? Asha, welcome. As I kind of started to say, the whole point of Talkaoke is kind of up to you to decide what you want to talk about. It could be absolutely anything. Has anybody got anything they want to get the ball rolling with? Any thoughts, comments, observations, ideas, suggestions, interjections? Man behind the bar. We didn't get your name. Have you got something?
Can we close the door outside door?
What's that?
Can we close that door?
Close the door first of all. That's a kind of open and shut one, really, so to speak. Well, let's get your name first of all.
I'm Gary. I think the theme it's about French speaking in France, isn't it? So why don't we talk about that country and get people involved? What you're going to do in Dieppe, I think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could talk about that. However, none of the French-speaking people
stuck at the border
are here.
Are they stuck at the border?
Yeah, they are actually. Well, they're stuck. They seem to have got stuck on the ferry. So none of the French people are here. We don't have to go for France. We could go for. We could talk about France. If anyone's got anything to say about France.
Why we go Somalia?
Somalia. Okay. Well, why Somalia?
Because I'm from Somalia.
Okay. So.
That's my hometown.
Okay. Where are you from in Somalia?
Somaliland.
Somaliland?
Yeah.
What is the difference between Somalia and Somaliland?
They used to one. It's only used to Somalia.
Yeah.
Was the one world war happened?
Yeah.
They cut off. But Somaliland now is a safe place. Mm-hmm. But Somalia, it's not a safe place. But people live there.
Somaliland is safer than Somalia?
Yeah, they cut off the other Somali.
Okay. Is there any other differences between Somaliland and Somalia?
But one place is safe, one place is not safe.
Okay.
Still the war war's going on.
Okay, so there's still a war zone, Somalia. I mean, there's so many things we could go. Any questions about Somalia?
Which language do you speak in Somaliland?
Somali. We all speak one language.
Somali.
And we all Muslim.
Okay.
One religion, one language.
Okay. Any other questions about Somalia? Yeah.
How did you learn to speak English so well?
So I was here 21 years. Left the one was 22.
You can't possibly be that old.
What? I'm 54.
No way.
I'm happy to say that.
Okay. Have they got a special formula for youth?
I'm here. How the special formula?
Okay, that's just a question. Okay, any other questions around the table about Somalia, about Somaliland?
Where is good to visit? What should you go and see if you went and visited?
It's unlucky I never go back, but I'm going back December, first time.
You're going to go for the first time?
21 years.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what particular town are you going to go to?
Somaliland.
Yeah, but is that a town or is it?
No, it's the second city. But I born
Okay.
in Mogadishu. I never see my Somaliland. Because
Yeah.
my family come from Somaliland, but I born in the city.
Right,
Then I
okay.
just come here,
Yeah.
but I need to go.
How do you think you're going to feel when you go back there?
That's
after
why I want to test it. I
Yeah.
want to go. I want to just go see it first. But I want to live all the winter time there because my kids growing up now.
Yeah.
But I see how go visit and see how I feel it there.
Yeah. Okay.
But a lot of the people go to Somalia, they cannot because the weather and everything they used to hear and they just come back quick. But some people move out.
Yeah. Well,
But I just want to visit and see how how it is.
Okay. Anyone else from a different country around the table? Do you go back, and how do you feel when you go back? Maybe it will be interesting to, if there are anybody from a different country. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm from Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
I
do you
love it when I go back.
You love it.
It's warm.
Yeah.
There's not as much rain.
Yeah.
And when you walk along the street, there's shelter from the rain as well. You don't just get wet.
Okay. So better weather.
Yeah, I would say people are a lot friendlier as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone quite keeps themselves like quite a lot here.
Okay.
It's quite hard to breach out of your
Yeah.
friend group.
Okay.
What makes you stay in London?
Oh, it's pretty fun. I don't know. It's got a lot of opportunity. I love the food. The culture's fun.
Yeah. So it's worth the unfriendliness and the bad weather.
To an extent, yeah, and also the accessibility to the rest of Europe.
Okay.
So it's $2,000 for us to
Yeah.
fly anywhere from Australia,
Yeah.
to Europe or wherever. Whereas here it's 40 quid to go anywhere. So.
Okay, so it's
Big
nice to be able to pop in. Yeah, yeah. Although our guest from France didn't find it that easy to get across the channel. Yeah. But anyway, that's another story we'll maybe find out later. Stacia, you put your hand up as well.
Yes, I am from a different nation.
Yeah.
Yes, can I convince you I'm from Canada?
Wow.
It's the US, actually.
Would you rather be from Canada? Is that what you're
It's
saying?
usually people receive that better than
Yeah.
from America, yes. So, yeah, I would like to hear from Aisha your impressions when you first moved to Britain, when you immigrated here from Somalia.
I didn't immigrate. I got married man,
Right,
my husband,
right,
and he was here.
okay.
And I just come. He's where you have a.
But was it a shock when you arrived in the UK?
Yeah, I want to go back first day
Yeah?
because when I get in the airport. Even I didn't know my husband, I see him in the airport. It was arranged marriage.
Really? So you didn't know who you were... have you seen
We
the
have
photo?
talked to phone, I will see photo and we get married already. But I never see face to face.
Right.
First time the picture he sent me, it was a beautiful husband, got suit and that.
Yeah.
When I see him skinny man, got afro, I will say, what the hell I done?
Okay. So,
Then it was Heathrow Airport. It was nice place. The cab, black cab. It was everything nice. But when I come in, all get easty.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I see Sunday market in the rubbish. I say, I'm not wanna go. I'm not wanna be here. I wanna go back.
Right.
But I'm here 31 years, having 4 kids.
Okay. Was it a similar story for you, Stacia, when you arrived? Did you?
No, I interestingly,
Yeah.
I decided to move here. I was entirely single, and
Yeah.
I had never been here in my life. I did
Yeah.
not know one person. I had arranged. It was in 2002, and I don't even think Google was up and running. If it was, I didn't know about it. So I had to arrange very laboriously over email to rent a place in
Okay.
Walthamstow.
So it wasn't an arranged marriage, but it was an arranged
Rental of a box
accommodation.
room in Walthamstow.
Yeah.
And when I got there, the people were not home, and I was dropped off in Walthamstow on a street corner
Right.
with my luggage and no mobile phone, no way
Yeah.
to reach them. And I wondered also, what have I done?
What have you done? So that seems to be the first reaction to come into London is like, what have I done? What am I doing living here? Maybe we should extend this out to the people at the bar. Are you from London? Are you from London? Yeah. Where are you from? Do you live in London now?
I live in South London.
Did you, when you first arrived in London, did you think, what have I done arriving here?
This is fantastic.
Oh, really? Okay, so straight off the bat. Okay. You're very welcome to come and sit down on the table of chat. You don't have to say anything. You could go further, stay further away if you want. Well, I should, it's very, very much up to you how what you want to do with Talkaoke. But I just want to say you're all very welcome to come and sit around the table of chat. Right now we're talking about, in a way, really coming to London. The first impression. Are you from London?
Outside of it, so
Yeah.
I have a weirder relationship because
Yeah.
I knew it as a kid as somewhere that you would go in
Yeah.
and visit. And it was really you go in and it's very glamorous. And then I moved into London, and some of it was very, very glamorous, but not necessarily where I was living at the time.
Yeah.
So I think but then it was completely different to what I knew as well. So I thought I knew what London was. I thought it was going to be, it's just a town that I was from
Yeah.
or near from. Because I think you move outside of London, you just tell everyone you're from London. But yeah, it was definitely challenging actually living inside of it as well. But much more fun and interesting.
Okay, so it's more fun to be a resident than a tourist.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's true for any place. There are some cities, I think, in the world that aren't that fun to visit. I don't think, somewhere like Glasgow is great to live in, but
Yeah.
when you go round, it's sort of just like got a big street, it's got a high street, maybe got a museum or two, but it's not really living. It's not the experience of actually what the city is.
Okay, so some places are not very tourist friendly. What about you, Rick?
Sorry? Well, the question was camera mode.
Well, there's a few questions that are floating around on the table. One of them is the experience of first coming to London, or at least for some of the table, is what have I done coming here? What am I doing living in this town?
I enjoyed coming here. I can't remember thinking,
Yeah.
what have I done? It was kind of exciting because it was somewhere different.
Yeah. Did you have something arranged beforehand, or was it?
No, I left uni and then moved here and was trying to find a job. Basically, that was the most stressful thing about it all.
Yeah.
I was trying to get some money.
And did you get a job in the end?
Yeah, working in a warehouse. So it's moved on from there.
Okay, so where are we going to go with this conversation? What do we want to talk about? Any thoughts from the back here? Where should we go with this conversation?
Well, we just talk about new baby.
What's that?
Harry's baby.
Oh, what baby is that?
It's Harry.
Oh, Harry's baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here, Asha, because no one else is throwing any subjects into.
Let them come in.
What do you think about the new baby?
It's good. They're happy. She's happy. He's happy.
Yeah.
And they control the media.
Yeah.
Because the first time they took his picture was yesterday or today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she have her in the hospital and nobody knows it. They're thinking that she have in a home.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
Okay, so you're happy about it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Any views? You look like you're about to say something, Jerome?
I don't care about the royal family.
You don't care about the royal family?
No,
okay.
not whatsoever.
Care, or are you anti-monarchy?
No, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. They just make
they've
up.
reproduced.
They just do appearances in public. That's really it. So we're still ruled by the monarchy in Australia, and I don't see the importance of them whatsoever. So
Would you rather not be ruled by the monarchy?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay. Have you come to Britain to agitate for the
stir the pot?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, what do other people think about the royal family? Yeah.
Do Australians actually like the royal family? Or just people just don't?
50 and above, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Or a select few.
Why do the younger people not like the royal family?
Well, we don't see the point in them. They don't do anything. They visit once every 20 years. They take a lot of money and profits and whatnot, and from whether it be minerals or anything that Australia does. They still own a lot of Crown land in Australia, so you can't develop that. You can't do anything with that because they own that, and it's Crown land.
Okay.
So it's basically they just have a bit of a ruling over us for no reason, really.
Okay.
So it's kind of like
Taxation without representation.
Okay. So what do people think, royal family? What's that?
we've got a government for reasons. It's like let's just read the UK. I understand. We if it was in a situation where, say, the Commonwealth, we had Canada, Australia, the UK, with free borders, we could move freely between them all. But it's not. We're all still stuffed when it comes to we only get a year working visa. It's not this free movement. There's no benefits to anything.
Okay, so you would you be happy having the Queen as your head of state if you
don't need a visa?
Yeah.
But still, we have restrictions on a lot of things.
Yeah. Would you be happy with the Queen as head of state if you had freedom of movement? If you were,
it would be.
If it was
it would
all
be a good
one
bonus.
country.
Yeah. It'd definitely be a good bonus. But I don't see why. Literally, like, why, I don't know. Maybe I'm just informed.
Okay, where do we want to go? Yeah. Go.
Oh no, I was just saying. I think this is something that does annoy me. Well, but insofar as like places like New Zealand, Canada, Australia, those are the select few of the old, like the Commonwealth that the government decided. Yes, you guys can have 2 years working holiday visa, but like the rest of the Commonwealth doesn't have that same kind of restriction. I think if you're going to have the legacy of what the Commonwealth was, which is a dark legacy, the least you can do is extend that, even if it's just a 2-year working visa, to everyone. And I think it is that picking. Yeah, free movement between it would be great, and maybe that is what replaces our European Union once we leave. But yeah.
So the Commonwealth Union rather than the European Union.
I don't care the Queen and everything, but I care the 2 boys, Diana and 2 boys. They done a lot of the charity, a lot of the things, and they lose when they was young, their mom, but they done a lot of the things that 2 boys. But I'm not saying all of them the same. But we would, if you be born the Queen family, you'd be happy. Everybody, I would have happy. So what? But they done a lot, and they lose when they was young, their mom.
Right.
And they done a lot of the charity. Diana and her 2
so
boys.
They're good people, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that 3 of them I can say, but I cannot. Rest of them I cannot say. But anybody wanna born that, just get somebody give you money and.
I mean, yeah.
So they're doing good charity.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
They're a good charity for the world, and they make appearances.
Station.
All right, I don't get the monarchy. I don't like them. I would overthrow them in a second if I could, if anyone wants to join me.
How would you overthrow them?
Totally
this is being recorded, by the way. Yeah?
No, I wouldn't do it. I would do it non-violently. But I would tell them, you have enough. You can keep what is in your bank account today. Goodbye. Go, fend for yourself. And they'll do quite well.
What about all the land they've got in Australia? Would they be able to keep that?
No. They need to. They stole it and they need to give it back. But I think a striking thing about this, I don't know his name, but the latest little boy, King Tut. Is he called Harry? Harry 2? The new one?
Archie.
All right. Baby King Archie.
Yeah.
He's 7th in line for the throne. So while we're making excuses for how wonderful this Windsor family is, you have to realize that the whole system is supporting a hierarchical inheritance string of people. And there's a bunch of useless aristocrats sucking on the public teat, waiting around to perhaps inherit. And it goes beyond.
Useless aristocrats sucking on the public teats. Is that how you see them, Rick?
I'm just quite indifferent to them, to be honest. I mean,
you just don't care at all.
Well, I mean, people seem to enjoy there being a monarchy, so I don't. I know it costs a lot of money, but I don't see an issue with it because.
Yeah, is it a worthwhile expenditure? Is that what you're saying?
Well, some people seem to get a bit massive kick out of it, so I guess it is. But I mean, I'm not bothered either way. So
you're not bothered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't the Queen? Isn't she half German? And then also Prince Philip's sisters all got married off to high generals in the Nazi regime. So it's all very interlinked there. That was some definitely war crimes going on.
Yeah.
But no one. They just brushed that under the rug and. Let's just go with it.
Okay.
They should be teaching that in schools then, I think. It's that thing of, we're not going to say anything, but we're just going to tell you all the facts. We're not giving you an opinion, but this is all the things that have happened up until now.
Yeah.
But I don't remember learning about the royal family at school. Or, I mean, maybe like Henry VIII, but that's quite a different time.
Okay. So, I mean,
Well, in order to immigrate here, I had to take the British way of life test, and I
Yeah.
had to learn a lot about the monarchy.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the British way of life? Fine, Matt.
Is there a British way of life? Do you
Yeah,
do you
there
believe?
officially is, because there's
Yeah.
a book published
Yeah.
on it. It's like 280 pages that I had to memorize and take a test. So yeah, officially
Okay.
there is.
So
Yeah, pie and mash was in there actually,
Okay.
and the fact that
Yeah.
you buy drinks in a round, which is useful information.
okay, so you need to know about the round system. Okay, well the next round's definitely on you in that case. Yeah.
Brits would actually fail the that.
How many British people? There's not too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true what she's saying. If you apply now 5 years ago, before it wasn't like that. You need to get tested to get British passport.
Did you do the British way of life test?
Lucky I done before it's coming that rule.
Yeah.
I've done a long time ago,
Yeah.
and it's cost you 1,500 now.
Yeah.
They're making money people
Yeah.
to get British certificate. It costs you 2,000 to get British passport.
Yeah, it's very
And
expensive.
they
yeah.
shouldn't do that. But what I get was 180 pounds.
Did you know about the round system of buying rounds in a pub?
No, I didn't. Then I never tested before they. When I hear 2 years after you starting, if you need British passport, you go and test it. I say I'm going to get it now. I'm not getting tested at all. I just get it. I was lucky, but people paying it 2,000 pounds. It's 1,500 to get British certificate, and you need to get exam.
Is it worth it? Do you think?
If you want to hear, it's not worth it because. Well, 2,000 when you get the British passport is... Anyway, everything's expensive now. But they shouldn't make it there. People come here, live here, work here. I don't agree that people get benefit. If they need to get benefit, they can get benefit. But people, the reason people here, not me. When I come here, I wasn't coming here. I was desperate. I have a world war in my country. I didn't come that. But some people, they have a reason to come here, put safe side, to make life there better, but you shouldn't be milking it and get the money they cannot afford it there. But now we're paying everything is expensive. The rent, council taxi, TV license, rich going rich, poor is going poor.
Okay, so
And that's sad.
there's a few ways we can go with this conversation. Do we want to talk about the increasing cost of living that exists? Do we want to talk about the royal family? Do we want to talk about the fact that it costs, you need to do a test and you need to know things like how to buy rounds in a pub. I don't know what else you need to know. But we might find out from Stacia, who's passed the test. Congratulations. We could talk.
You need to know about the British road system as well, don't you? The fact it goes like anti-clockwise around the country. Is that
what?
right?
The what?
The British road system starts so like the A1 and then the A6 are next to each other because it starts and goes that way, anti-clockwise around the country. So that's why you have roads shaped like that. So it's
so
like
you
a
need to
high
know.
five.
You need to know why the A roads have got their particular numbers. Crazy stuff.
Australia, we have a similar, I guess you could say, cultural association test or whatever it is, and you learn about Pavlova and the Australian national anthem and things like that. So I think it's kind
Pavlova.
Pavlova. You know Pavlova. Well,
It's a kind of dessert.
Australian thing, they say.
What's
Pavlova? It's like meringue, like a meringue pie, like covered in fruit and passion fruit seeds and stuff. And it's really.
Is that like the national dessert?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Pavlova.
So do you need to know about desserts in the British test? Do you need to know about things like spotted dick?
It did mention food. Someone else had to explain to me spotted dick.
Right, okay.
It's a good thing to know. Yes.
Yeah.
It was not in the. I don't think that was specifically covered, but some food was.
Yeah.
Fish and chips were mentioned.
Fish and chips. Okay.
Yeah. Although in my experience of London, I don't encounter many fish and chips.
Do you think fish and chips are on the way out?
I think they might have kind of,
Pie and chips or chicken and chips. I think those are the two that actually British people eat a lot more.
So
I love a pie and chips.
Is chicken and chips the new, or pie and chips the new fish and chips? Is fish and chips on the way out? Any thoughts? No, I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm just intrigued by the question. Fish and chips on the way out. Rick?
No.
No?
Probably not. I think fish. Well, apart from the fact that fish keeps going up in price, but I don't think fish and chips is going. No, yeah, that would be the only reason that fish chips would go out.
What's that?
I think that's the only reason to go out. If people they couldn't. It would be too expensive. Or,
Okay. All right.
But then there's now near where I live. There's a vegan fish and chip shop now. So that's
Vegan fish and chips.
completely vegan fish.
Will vegan fish and chips be the new fish and chips?
I've had toefish, and I have to say it wasn't
Toefish?
bad. Yeah,
That's what it's
toefish,
called.
but it sounds disgusting. Maybe just because of the name, but it was probably the closest thing I'd had to any kind of vegan substitute of meat.
Okay. So
Nice little beer batter, like soft filling. I was like, okay, I think I could do this.
will the 2030 Britishness tests have toefish in it rather than traditional fish and chips?
Depends if the Tories are in power.
You think it could be a political decision?
Definitely.
I think we're at this point where we might be starting to be going into this next kind of concept of world rationing. Or I don't think the Tory party are going to bring it in, but just thinking about how obviously we've had the UN climate change report that came out last week. And everyone knows that we are facing a crisis, but no one has yet sort of declared a crisis in terms of nationally or internationally.
What's that got to do with fish and chips?
Well, I think we're not going to have any fish and chips anymore. I think we're going to have rations of meat and fish as we get in the next 20 years.
Chips.
Just chips and chips.
Chips and chips. There's no fish.
Chips and soybeans.
Okay. So, are we actually on the verge of running out of fish? Is that what you're saying?
I think we are.
Okay.
From knowing what is going on and the fact that we're still overfishing, even just locally, and we're an island. I think we are going to start facing a lot more drastic changes. In the next
so
20 years.
will fish and chips be replaced by chips and chips?
Doesn't matter whatever. If we're not hungry, whatever we eat, we're eating it. If you're not hungry and you eat whatever, some people don't have a choice.
Yeah.
We have a lot of the choice and we're wasting it.
Yeah.
My kids, I don't. They bought silver spoon. They got choices. But when I was back home and was young, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
You eat that food or you're starving.
So it's just whatever food is there.
Whatever is there. If you don't eat it, you're starving until next day.
Yeah.
But spoil them, have a lot of the things their faces. Make them.
So actually, we've got an abundance of foods.
Yeah,
and we don't appreciate it.
We don't appreciate it. The markets, they don't appreciate it. That's all I can talk about.
All right. So, maybe if we didn't have fish, we still got so many other things. Are we not really appreciating all of the things we've got, even if we don't have fish and chips? It might be chips and chips, toefish and chips. What will the national dish be in the future?
Chips and beans.
Cheesy chips and beans.
Yep.
Do you like fish and chips?
I do.
Do you think we?
I've talked enough for the minute.
Are you happy with chips and chips instead of fish and chips? Okay. Well, she's happy with chips and chips. Will it be cheesy chips?
With beans.
With beans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always helps.
And gravy.
And gravy, very important. Don't forget the gravy. I think that's the most British thing to have on top of chips.
Beans and gravy. It's a bit overly liquidy, I think, on the chips, but I think it's gravy or beans.
It depends how many potatoes you have there. That's what I'm saying. Maybe just have a mound of potatoes sectioned off, sorted. Yeah.
Okay, so potatoes are the future, I think.
Maybe for the UK as they grow here, so
yeah.
Not for the rest of the world. I guess everyone is going to have different, depending what grows everywhere else. That would be.
So
if we're unable to kind of ship food around the world.
You think we'll be eating locally a bit more?
Going back to eating locally.
So potatoes here, but in other parts of the world, maybe that. Yeah. What do they eat in Somaliland?
Somalia is like Italy. We eat the pasta, we eat the rice.
Yeah.
Just we got our own food, just pancake, meat.
Pancakes?
Yeah, we make our own, not like sweet pancake. We can make like chapati.
Right, okay.
And you can eat with the meat, you can eat with the fish, you can eat with the chicken.
Can you eat it with potatoes?
Of course, when I'm hungry, I eat anything. It's
Yeah.
not so, when I'm hungry, whatever is fruit of me, I'm eat.
I mean, do you agree with this conjecture that we're going to have less food in the future?
I think it's teaching us better life, and we appreciate what we got.
Okay. What, having less food?
Yeah.
Or having more food?
Not wasting all that food.
Yeah.
Most of the food is going to the dustbin and the rubbish.
Yeah.
The one is the day, the bread is got date, everything is got date. When it's off day in the.
So in a way, we could do with having a bit less food.
Yeah, and we appreciate what we got. Yeah.
Okay. Do we actually need a food shortage in this country to actually appreciate food a bit more?
Of course. When you cannot buy, it's a parents working there, but they cannot afford to pay the rent or to eat or to feed the kids, and they're starving it. But when some people just have this and that and fruit of them, they say, "Oh, we don't like this one. I prefer this one. I prefer this one."
Yeah.
That's not fair, is it? It's not fair. We should be have a.
Yeah.
I'm the person saying when I'm hungry, I eat what I got. But Marcus, I cooking 3 different foods all day. Or they come in, I don't like this. Because this one don't like this one, this one don't like this one, this one don't like this one.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm cooking it. Oh, we don't fast it to eat it. We can get a takeaway today.
Right.
And that food is going dustbin.
So this is basically an overabundance of food, and we don't appreciate food and what it is. I guess. Is it just going to hit us anyway that we're going to run out of food? We're running out of fish, and maybe some other species as well.
Yeah.
What, is that what you were saying?
Well, I think it's not going to get stopped anytime soon by cost.
Yeah.
Or if you do, there's going to still be like some kind of like meat black market going on with like, and then you'll have this kind of like post
What you mean?
futuristic.
People will be selling meat kind of underground.
I reckon so. Yeah.
I mean, not literally on the underground. But,
People will be like shooting rabbits up in like Epping Forest or something like that, and then they're selling them on the black market.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the next 20 years definitely we've just run out of space.
Yeah.
It's a kind of situation where, because they're trying to make meat in a lab, so there might be a situation where, well, at the moment that's really expensive, but there might be a situation that becomes really cheap, and then having proper steak will be the luxury, expensive, maybe black market kind of thing. Yeah. So everyone, it'll be it's going to swap, I think, where it'll be like cheap to get. I don't know, lab-made meat, and then having the actual real thing is.
So
expensive.
So basically, it'll be kind of fake meat.
Yeah, I guess. Well, it'll be real, but fake real meat. Yeah.
But it won't be fake in that it will be meat. But not meat from an animal.
Yeah, exactly.
Meat from a lab.
Yeah.
Prime cut of petri dish.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Choose your size for petri dish. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, petri dishes, I guess, are in a burger shape, aren't they?
Yeah, a little burger shape.
Yeah.
But I've read quite a lot about like trying to grow meat in a lab. I think because I know that I need to stop eating meat, and I'm trying to, but I really miss it, and it's not.
Yeah.
I know a lot of vegans who say, it's great. I'm like, oh yes, it is. Now I will eat vegan most of the time, but I miss a chicken and chips or steak every now and then, and think it's hard. But actually, having read quite a lot, lab grown meat often still got a very high energy resource input. So you take a lot of electricity. That might change to green time. It takes a lot of water as well.
Right.
So when I went to see a talk about sort of the future of food, and then the Dutch scientist who'd been the first person to actually try and upscale this process and actually get it to work, and I think he cooked a burger on like Now TV or something. But he says, what I would say to most vegetarians or vegans who sort of come to my talks and they sort of see me as this kind of messiah, someone who sort of brought them this new thing. He says, no, you've already got this sorted, that you already have this down. Don't then start trying to buy this product. This is for the people who really, maybe for medical reasons or maybe for habit reasons, really can't change.
Right.
And that was quite maybe a disappointing realization to have from having gone to that talk. That it's not necessarily the I would like to think it would be though.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot at stake. So future of food. Future of food. What will our food look like in the future? Will we be eating a lot less? Will we be eating the protein pills or local food, as Rick suggested, this lab-grown meat?
Well, I do think that food poverty is an issue that we tend to not face up to in the first world, because there are a lot of families actually in the UK and the US, for example, probably in other first world countries, that actually do go hungry, and there is quite a difference socioeconomically what a family can afford in their weekly food budget, and it ends up being that the cheap food is actually much worse for your health, and then that affects people's ability to learn and concentrate and grow up to be healthy and productive. So it is actually, I think, already a bigger problem than
we
many of
realize.
us realize. Yeah.
I mean, is there a kind of class system of food? Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Well, and fast food. I mean, it's if you're an educated, informed person, then you know that's an indulgence. Don't go eat there every day, etc., etc. But if McDonald's is offering 99p meal and you have 4 children to feed on benefits money, of course you're going to do that, and at least they have something to eat. But it's very, very detrimental to their health.
Okay.
Free fruit and vegetables. Free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Well, at the moment as well, you have a lot of problems that food banks are now replacing any kind of form of, since the universal credit systems come in.
Right.
Food
So
banks,
people
the
can't
use
even
of them
afford-
have gone up through the
and
roof.
even afford foods. Yeah. Okay.
And I would say that the solution would be to end austerity, but I think that's yeah.
Okay. Well,
obvious.
this is Talkaoke. You can take it any direction you want to. If you want to go in a more political direction, and I felt that in a way, Asher was kind of implying that a little bit in terms of saying that that in a way we're not appreciating the wealth that we have. Those that do have wealth. Can we get involved? End austerity. What do you think that's? And austerity being this kind of what is austerity?
I think it's like hugely reduced public spending by the government. So because every government has some kind of deficit, but then the amount that they're borrowing was growing, and then they want to reduce the amount that they are borrowing, I want to say, or at least in debt.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to whether you are comfortable being in debt as a country or as a person, and lending money and accruing interest, or if you're uncomfortable with that and you want to just accrue money. And I think if you're financially conservative, you don't want any sort of debt. So debt is bad, or lending money is lent money is bad. Whereas I think if you're more on the liberal scale, you spend a lot of time. You think, no, we will borrow money to put into public works, and that will increase productivity and spending. I think is a way of describing it, and describing that kind of split, the financial split.
Thank you for that. So you're in favour. You say yes. Come back to the table then. I mean, to be honest, we kind of need you because there's only 3 of us here. Do you think we should end austerity? Should we be spending more publicly as a government? No. We shouldn't. Should we be tightening our belts?
I think that you need to spend money on the public, for the public, to be able to get a productive workforce, to be able to benefit future projects and future generations. Or not.
So we're kind of investing in the future.
You are, I think so, yeah. Obviously, the first thing to get cut in life is arts and things that are luxuries to people.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the government, obviously business generally takes the forefront of what they want to save and protect. But then I also do think that without happy people, people are not happy to go to work, and it does not have a roll-on effect to really
So
create.
they should actually be investing in happiness to a certain
or
extent.
just investing in people's well-being and also the future of, I guess, I don't know, that's me.
Okay, well, no, I think I don't know if we could get much disagreement around the table from the conjecture we've had so far. Should we be investing in happiness?
Oh, I was thinking of something completely different, which was because I was having this argument last night. Was the runner who has now just been banned because she's got too high levels of testosterone, and then there've been a huge amount of arguments about whether you're going to have women's sport, other sport, men's sport, and then how you're going to start measuring categories of that. And I just think. I think it's unfair because she does not want to be in this fight and she just wants to run, and then she's been sort of forced to be this public spokesperson. But the people I was with last night were saying that it was definitely that they believe that it was a testosterone that was the key, and that's how we should start measuring sport. And I don't know if I can agree with that.
Okay, well, that's a radically different. I mean, it's kind of up to you, the audience, where you want to take this. Do you want to talk about austerity? Do we want to talk about what's the name of this runner?
I can't remember her name.
Where's she from?
South Africa.
Yeah.
Caesar for begins with a C and an F, and I can't remember her name.
Yeah. Okay. But this particular runner. Do we want to talk about that? Do we want to talk about austerity, investing in happiness? It's kind of up to you. Which direction do you want to go on this? Have you got a view? What should we talk about?
Beer.
We can talk about beer.
Oh, we can talk about beer, or
Sorry, I've just come to see these guys. I wasn't. I've not become prepared.
What do you think? Austerity or the runner whose name begins with C, South African, who's got a lot of testosterone, but she's a she?
Maybe the runner.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's the way we're going to go with it then. Was going to talk about this. Any views, Rick, on the runner? Can you remember her name?
No, I can't remember her name.
Yeah?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. How come nobody can remember her name? She's been in the news all the time.
I don't remember names. You're the guy that remembers names. I remember faces. Well, I wonder why she can't run against the men's race or anything like that. If she's got too high testosterone. Why
do you think she should be running in the men's race if she's got a high testosterone?
Well, if she just wants to run, let her run. But I don't know. I mean, I guess the situation is they feel she's got an unfair advantage running in the women's race. So it's like it's not her fault. I mean, what's she to do really? So it feels a bit unfair just to sort of say no, you can't run at all because your genes basically, or something in your mutation or something like that. So what do you think the answer should be? It's not my job to. I can't think. I don't know what the answer would be for that. But you can't have a third category because then it gets silly. It's like where does the line go? Draw for that. So does she run in the men's race? I don't know how. I don't know. I have to see what her times are to see if she has any chance in that kind of category.
Does it matter what her times are?
I don't know if it matters what her times are. It depends if she would. Well, how much it differs in terms of would she have a chance in that?
Okay. What other people think? On this side. Have you heard the story? Do you remember this story? Can you remember the name of the?
I cannot remember the name.
Of the runner?
We're all dependent on Google, I think. I think that life is probably difficult enough for people that are intersex, and you have to then, because most of society is very binary organized, she just had to choose one. She chose to live as a female, and I don't think she should be penalized.
So you think she should run in the race and...
As a female, yeah.
What about the high levels of testosterone?
Well, does it matter? There are women that are not typically female in other ways. And yes, that does affect her performance in the sport, but there you are. There are all sorts of humans in the world. Already, if you're an elite athlete, you're unusual.
Yeah, you've kind of got high levels of everything anyway.
You've got
so
an
you're kind of extreme.
Yes.
Do you know about this South African runner, Asha?
No.
That's been banned from running in the women's race because she's got too much testosterone. Did you hear about this? No? Okay. Jerome, have you got a view on it?
No, I'm not too involved on that, sorry.
Yeah?
No. I did hear about it a little bit, but I think, if I think she's got every right to perform. Why not?
Okay.
If she wants to run with the blokes, let her run with the blokes.
I think it's the fact that at the moment she is just always, she is an athlete. She's always been a woman, and I think it's only because people started like raising aspersions about her. So it's never been that she's transitioned or that she was even intersex. I think she's always been a female runner, a woman runner, and then suddenly people started sort of asking questions and saying, oh, you look quite manly, and we're going to now test you. So I think it's also the fact that this individual has gone through so much scrutiny, and the fact that people are saying, oh, maybe she can just run for the men's races, but actually it's been quite like a humiliating experience for her. And I think in many ways she was also scouted for being a runner because she was like that as well, because she was tall and strong, and that's what you want for a sprinter. If you want a high jumper, you want someone who's like sort of tall and willowy. I guess I find it hard to separate what you have as hormones in terms of then what you have as a wingspan compared to your legs or something like that, because again, it's luck.
Got wings.
No, I'm just thinking quite a lot.
That
for
would
some,
be an unfair advantage, surely.
I'm trying to think about what it is. It might not be boxing. It might be rowing. There's some sports that the ratio of your arm span to your leg span, if you've got a longer arm span, it's better. So there's stuff like that. It's just you're relying on getting these kind of anomalies in nature to get the best sport.
Okay.
But then sometimes I want to see like hyper jacked up people anyway doing sport.
Okay. So kind of sporting people are kind of freaks anyway. I'm just going to come to you in a second, Rick.
Why she's just running with the manis? Say, let me try to be manis.
Yeah.
Put me whatever you want, a man or woman is. But they should let her.
They should let. But I mean, if she wants to run with the women, should she?
Yeah, she should be. It's nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with what you got your two legs. If you be good with something, you be good something. I think it's just jealousy. And
you think that everyone's just jealous of her?
Jealousy and don't more understanding the people.
Yeah.
Anybody, they want whatever they want. But if you good something, you be good something. Doesn't matter what you, man or woman. They should be given it because she got the talent. And God give her.
Yeah.
But if somebody just jealous and want to ruin for some person, it's their dreams.
Basically, you're saying that God gave her the body that she's got.
The body she got there. It doesn't matter where you got your under legs, man or woman. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you shouldn't be charging her, saying, oh, you got this or you got that. She doesn't choose that.
Yeah.
God give her.
Okay.
And that's who she is. Let her be people who they are.
Let people be who they are. That's certainly something we could open it out to a little bit. So I've got Ellie. When you're in the middle, whatever you do, don't get all tangled up like this, because this is wrong. This is wrong. This is like bad technique. It's very unprofessional. Anyway, I don't know what's happened here. Okay. Right. Okay. Sorted it out. Rick, what were we going to say?
What I was going to say.
Well, we were.
It was. I'm totally up for like the enhanced Olympics. I think that'd be hilarious and scary. People running the 100 meters in 6 seconds and stuff like that.
You mean there should be like a sort of an Olympics where you're allowed to cheat in any way?
Yeah, like people up there with like, I don't know, electronic legs and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Like exploding as you cross the finishing line kind of thing from just over. Yeah, drugged up. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting.
I mean, do you think we're a little bit too purist when it comes to the Olympics?
Well, you'd have to have different ones, I guess. You couldn't mix it. So. Well, I can understand why people want a pure Olympics. It's kind of like it's good to see people pushing their body to the limit without enhancements. But they would be also interested to see what happened.
Yeah. Would it be more interesting to actually just kind of like open the door, and what would happen?
Exactly.
Don't you feel like even today people are still taking enhancements? It's just they're not getting caught because they're too far advanced for the testing. They're still getting caught years later, but. If they just open the field, it would basically eliminate all of that because people just have whatever they want. But it wasn't up until the 70s or whatever where they actually brought in a testing, I guess, field where they could really test. They were drinking, taking, getting drunk before a race, or they were, just taking random things that definitely weren't even anything to do with performance-enhancing drugs. But I definitely think
it was more fun in those days.
Yeah. Have a heap of beers and run this 100 meters. No, I don't think that's really going to work. But I do understand that. I think it could be quite interesting to see how far you can push the human body, whether or not people want to do it. They do it regardless in weightlifting and things like that, or in Olympics and mainstream Commonwealth Games and sports like that without being caught. So I don't see why.
Yeah. What I mean.
Probably pushing themselves to the point of like risking their health to they were like
so it could start to get dangerous
die in their 30s because they just pushed themselves so much to the point to get the gold medals so that I'm pretty sure that would be happening.
Okay. I mean, are people pushing themselves quite a lot already when it comes to sport?
Well, I think they're pushing themselves drug-wise secretly.
So you sort of agree
no,
with
I think everyone's like really enticed with this romantic image of people who are obsessive about things. I don't know if that's just to fill the hole where you're not obsessive about things.
So we kind of like that sense of obsession.
Or watching other people do it. It's like a feat of like heroism. In some ways.
So in a way, that pushing yourself to the limit is kind of like what we enjoy to see other people do, even if we don't do it ourselves. Has anyone pushed themselves to the limit here? That's what we're talking about.
Taking too many drugs.
Well, it could be. That could be it depends how you see the. Have you ever pushed yourself to the limit? You've pushed yourself to the limit of conversation. I know that. And I certainly have when we did the marathon 24-hour Talkaoke. We're talking about pushing yourself. Have you ever pushed yourself to the limit, do you think?
Oh, many times.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that my first Talkaoke will be the place to.
Well, hopefully not the last. Hopefully not the last. Have you ever? Yeah, go on.
Well, okay. Further to the enhancement of sport, it's interesting that as times change, what is considered to be an unfair enhancement also changes. Because I'm thinking of, with American football, at the time that it became professionalized, like early 70s when it began to be televised, up till then it was like people had a job during the week, then they played American football on the weekends, even for the professional teams, and you were supposed to be like this burly person that like worked in a warehouse and you were muscular. They didn't use a weight room. And then when it began to be like, it was a collegiate sport that people were going from university into the professions, they were trying to use a weight room, but there was apparently quite a line between like the old school players that thought, no, you shouldn't need to train on weights. That's like
so just
unfair. So
simply the use of a weight room was considered.
It was considered like
cheating.
An unfair advantage and like something you should not be doing.
So
close, like in obviously in the old school terms would be like muscle building would slow you or certain things like that, and then so obviously everyone's got their own opinion on what build you should be for a certain sport, and those guys were obviously all old factory workers and things, just old man muscle and things like that. But and these days it's all lean trained, specific to the sport. So
I mean, will we in the future kind of see it as a bit of a weird, like when somebody watches this conversation, hello people in 2050, this is 2019 saying hello, will they be going, what a weird conversation? Well, of course people should be allowed to take drugs and enhance their bodies, and of course they should be allowed to, extend their legs by 3 inches or whatever it is, because that's what you do.
You can take drugs if you want to take it, but not ruin your life. Whatever you do, your life is to be balanced. You can handle this thing, and you'll be okay. But not coming drugs and die in the street or robbing people, that's not life. You give up. Every drug, even the tablet we're taking, things we're taking, everything's got side affected. Yeah. But life, it should be balanced. You can play, you work hard and play hard. But just, what you're doing there.
Yeah. But how do you know how far you can go? How do
you know that when you take it, when you're taking the things, that when you put in yourself, and you know what it is. But sometimes you don't know. Even drinks, you could be becoming alcoholic.
Yeah.
Eating junk food, you could be becoming unhealthy.
Yeah, like.
But you need, if you're. Some people can. I shouldn't put everybody like me. Some people, their brain is all right. They know what they want in life, and what they can handle and what they can't handle. But some people, they don't know. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you can handle it, that's when you're not ill or you just. But you think that it's easy to put weight, but it's hard to take it there.
Yeah.
Life is so hard, but you know what you're doing it. If you don't know what you're doing it, it's that thing. But drugs took it people offer. Alcohol took it people offer. Food took it people offer. Are you thinking it?
Drugs common in Somali culture.
Huh?
Drugs common in Somali culture.
We never have a drugs and we never have a. We have a alcohol, but it's the people drinking alcohol. It's the people, little people. But now, one world war started because we close to Kenya and Ethiopia. We between Kenya and Ethiopia, and drugs coming now. You take one of child here, so our Somali kids. When they're bad here, you thinking, oh, I send him home to get better, to know what life is. You cannot get a better life, but let him see here what is the life is, and he's have a better life here, and you send him back home. But whatever they're taking here is there now.
Right. Okay.
And
So
it's not easy. It's not different now. It used to different.
Yeah.
They see what they're missing in here. Free education, free healthy care. But when it's coming, they doesn't know. But you should be plus. But some people, they cannot do that.
Okay. An interesting moment. It might be. It's kind of. I kind of feel like maybe in talking about reaching the limit. It may be now time to actually, because I might have reached the limit in terms of what I can do with my 1 hour of hosting Talkaoke. It may be time to seek and select a new host. You can carry on with that if you want to. No, well, you're welcome to have a go. But I should say that we had a little conversation earlier on, Ellie and myself. So, are you willing to have a jump in the middle?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So let's have a big round of applause. One of the things about being in the middle is you have to kind of, you have to sit on your own opinions. And there's been a lot that I've been wanting to say, but I will be able to do that now. Sadly, you won't be able to anymore. But anyway, I'll let you go in the middle. If you want to just have a climb over.
Down brag down here, that's nice.
Oh yeah, that was me.
Just setting the scene. Right. Okay. How's that for sound?
I might turn you up a little.
Oh, obviously I've got a quiet voice today.
Over to you.
Okay, so we know sort of a bit. Hello, I'm Evie for everyone who hasn't met me so far. So I was just thinking, so we've come to a new section of Talkaoke. So just before we start off, we split the parties. I was listening to the radio today, and someone was having a go at Chaka. How do you say his last name?
Umana.
Thank you very much. And someone was having a go at him on Radio 4 because they were accusing him of splitting the vote between him and the Liberal Democrats. And I don't know whether that was a fair thing or not to accuse him of. Anyone have any opinions on that? Splitting the vote between an alternative vote against a Tory party? Any thoughts?
I didn't see the. I don't know. Sorry, no.
Do you think we should only have a very small amount of political parties? Do you think we should only have the 3?
No, I think we should have a lot to represent all the different views. I think it's very dangerous to have only 2.
And do you think we get enough stuff done?
Sorry?
Do you think we get enough stuff done?
Now? No, I think it's way too contentious, way too much infighting within parties that people are afraid to leave or to fragment.
How about just over here? I'm going to try not to get wound up on the mic as well as I do this.
That's one of the very important skills of being in the middle. Don't get wound up. I think politics is kind of broken. I think we need a new paradigm, really, for politics in the UK.
So you think it's broken completely? Do you think we should have an entirely new system? What's the system going to look like?
I think the problem with having an entirely new system is that people need time to familiarise themselves with it, but we could definitely tweak and develop what we've got so far.
how would anyone got any ideas about how they want to tweak the system that we have in the UK at the moment? What's the system like in Australia?
Terrible. Liberals,
Terrible.
Labor, and Greens. That's all you have, really. Wacko Gun Party or something like that. Yeah.
And who are the biggest?
America, isn't it? Yeah.
The Wacko Gun Party is fringe and not mainstream.
Yeah, that's very true. Liberals, Labor, and Greens are basically the predominant parties, and then Greens will succumb to Liberals or Labor. Liberal or Labor will win, either one, and then Greens will give their votes to the best party that succumbs to their needs or whatever they want to get across in their kind of bills or whatever. Politics is not my thing.
Okay, but no, I think that's interesting. So the sort of like the third party can give away their votes. And do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, well, they give their votes to the, I guess, the best person to lead them or to deal with their votes in the right possible way, because they don't really have the power to do so themselves. If they were in the lead with the top two, I think it'd be a different situation, because they're literally such a better party than both of the two in lead. But just you've got the old crowd that are very stuck in their ways of the working man or the conservative, and that's it.
So very similar. And then in the US, you have quite a different political system, I'd say. Have you got any opinions about one being better than the other?
Well, the US system is dreadful, so I think it's well overdue for huge reform. It's slightly better here, but unfortunately I see things like lobbyists encroaching here. Some of the mistakes that America's made are kind of edging in. I don't like to see it.
Yeah, so we think every single political party is broken. So far we haven't been quite that complimentary about politics. Mikey?
I mean, I think it's kind of clear. I mean, you know, without saying the B words, things have gone quite badly wrong. But I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because there are other forms of public participation, such as voting on TV shows, for one, or this idea that the public should have a say, I think is very important. But I think the issue is really how to involve the populace in a kind of way that they're capable of interacting with, but also makes sense to them and makes them feel involved in a political process.
So we need to make it a little bit more sexy, you think? So maybe should we be able to vote via TV or via online? Anyone think? How would you make politics more sexy? The voting process itself.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Don't know. I mean, we have got Eurovision just coming up, just for anyone who's keen. How about in the States? Do you think it's more, because in the States people are a lot more glamorous within politics, I'd say.
I would say, yeah, obviously getting the public more involved, but unfortunately I think the notion of voting on television and voting on the internet constantly, etc., has led to a sort of populism that led to Trump, unfortunately. It's an uninformed way of doing it, and that's the danger. Empowering people in the sense that you should have an opinion that counts, however, I'm not going to bother to lead you very well. I'm not going to bother to.
Thank you, Jerome. Any final thoughts before you go? Thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any final thoughts before you go?
Stay happy.
Stay happy. All deep, short, pithy. I like it.
I mean, I think that could link to the current question, because it is a question really about happiness, really, isn't it? I mean, going to the American Constitution, it's all about the pursuit of happiness, whatever that is. I'm not sure if we know what that is, but it seems like the public are not good at actually they're not able to determine what is going to keep them happy in pretty much any democracy around the world.
I think that's quite a bold statement to say that no one knows what makes them happy. Any people at the bar? Anyone at the bar? What makes you guys happy on a daily basis?
looking at art.
Looking at art, fantastic. Yeah, come and take a seat, guys. Come and warm up my table for me.
So I live in North London, and I really love the area that I live in, and I've been there since I moved to London. And every day I'm really grateful to live. It's got like such a nice community, and I really love it. So I live like 5 minutes from Hampstead Heath, and then like where my flat is, there's like a real nice community, like a good local pub, a nice cafe. Everyone kind of knows everyone. So like little things like that. Reading makes me happy. Like reading really good bits. Exercising, so like.
Come on, Amy. I'll sit next to you. Amy, come on.
So all quite, so a community kind of, I think community like features quite strongly in it, and then also sort of being outdoors is your sort of environment almost.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, it's kind of like taking pleasure in like little things. So I think sometimes there's this massive emphasis on, so like travel would be like the perfect example. There's this huge thing like we have to go to like Thailand or have these like amazing experiences where you could just do like a day trip to Oxford and have a really nice walk by the river. So I think it's like taking pleasure in like little things and being grateful for what you have, and also like reminding yourselves like we're really lucky, like, you know, compared to what some people go through. You know, all of us sat on this table are so lucky compared to you know, other people. So I think it's just reminding yourself of that and taking pleasure in little things. But for me, it's like my community of where I live, reading, I love, as I said, yoga, swimming. There's a pool in Covent Garden, it's like outdoor, and it's like a council run.
Oh, yes, good decision.
Oasis, swimming pool. Yeah, so just those like little things that don't really cost a lot but make me feel good.
Is anyone here dissatisfied with little things? Mikey, you want to jump in on that one?
Well, I just think all of these things are actually political questions, you know, like who built the pool in Covent Garden, and, you know, like, how did that come about? There was a pool in London Fields that I used to go to, but now it's got too busy. Why has it got too busy? These are all actually, I think, political questions, but I think it's just the nature of, you know, how you engage people and what you actually want them to do to sort of like everyone. I sort of think that everyone wants to be happy and wants to engage positively. However, the politics always isn't about negative stuff.
I think it depends how far you take that back, doesn't it? So you can always go, you can keep going back. So the same way as Cambridge is going back about the slave trade and Bristol is worrying about the slave trade, which sort of set up most of the country. There's a story today about the children in education in Texas refusing chickenpox virus because it came from an aborted fetus in 1962 or something like that. And it goes against their religion. You're going, well, yeah, that's quite bad. That was bad then, maybe, but right now, is it relevant or not? You know, it's the relevance now, I think, rather than the history sometimes.
So we're thinking about what bits of history do we feel are relevant to the present day? Which bits do we want to ignore? And does it affect us?
So look at this. So Poplar is now in the FT. You see, this is Balfron Tower. It's now a commodity. So that's talking about history, isn't it? You know, a legacy of social housing, where people have been forced out and can't go back, and they're being forced out further and further and further. This estate being a particular example of that. You look at the end of the street, you know, it's creeping up here. It's got to take out all of this, you know. Where these people going to go, you know?
So you think actually it's sometimes the past actually, in that kind of case, the brutalism, it was popular and then it fell down, now it's come back down again. You think it actually can damage quite a lot of people? Anyone to jump in?
Well, I mean, I think it's more the fact that the way that people have been treated. You know, it's the thing about we're actually having a conversation about regeneration really recently on Tuesday, and people actually really want their area to be regenerated, but it's how it's done is really vital, and people, you know, it's too much about money, and not enough about the people that are in the area.
So it's about, at the moment, all good things are being ruined by money. Is that what we're sort of good things ruined by money?
Yeah, everything's ruined by money. I live 31 years here. The blog I live now is coming out. They say 2 years ago he could have come out, but he's not coming out. they're building fancy flats, but we cannot get on because it's too expensive, or it's people making money. But where's the people live here? Where's the community? You kicking us our houses and say you breaking down. Give us somewhere to live. But everything is money. It's a power. It's a rich going rich, poor's going and poor.
And do people feel? Do you feel like you can? Does the community feel like they can do anything against it? Does anyone?
We try.
Yeah.
We try. Now it's my area. I could have walked 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. No water, but nothing. Because my kids knows the kids in the area. But now you see in a lot of the different faces, a lot of the things happening. As the new people live, who come and move here. That's a matter. You can live here. We're not saying that we don't want any new people. But who we live in, who we know, where's our priority, where we live? We live here. Give the community what they want, then do what you want to do there. But it's not, we toss you out, you not exist there, and all this going on. I'm not feeling safe to walk out now the street 10 o'clock. I see cars stopping there, looking at me saying, I say, well, you want to look at, why are you looking at? I could have said that before, but now I cannot say that. Because daytime, 9 o'clock in the morning, I was sitting in the cafe, me and one of the guys working in the cafe. Some man just attacking woman in the front of the church. And she was waiting in the bus. And you're thinking, and I was thinking, when she's running and screaming, I was thinking, she's saying, oh, he's stealing my phone. No, he just get out his bits and he want to just do something with her. Said 9 o'clock in the morning, it's a bus going on, everybody got cars. And if you can do it daytime like that, early in the morning, yeah? And people can see you, what you can capable of doing in the nighttime when the people cannot see you.
So it's the sudden changes. How are you going to sort of capture that sense of community as well, and how can you challenge that change? How do we make communities if we're all quite concerned about it? We've got an established one here. How do you think you guys can start making a community around you? Mikey, you're keen to say.
Well, I think this pub is a good example of it. However, not everyone actually comes to this pub. So, in this community. But I mean, a lot of the Bangladeshi people don't come to this pub.
But they're not allowed to drink.
Because they don't drink. Yeah, but I mean, why? I mean, but it is, because this has done a lot of, I think this pub has done a lot of good. Yeah.
So I have to say, when we did the glass blowing out the backyard last September, that actually did attract a lot of Bangladeshi people, because they didn't have to come in the pub; they could come in the backyard, you see, and they could experience the whole idea of making a glass. And the thing is, here we don't want people to be observers; we want them to take part in what they're making. To make a glass, it was a wonderful experience. And also, when the pub's closed, we try to open that up to other groups. So we've had certainly a group of Bangladeshi teenagers in here who worked with one of Tim Burton's animators to do a plasticine stop motion project. And because it wasn't when the pub was open, that worked really well. So I think we have to work on that and make it more accessible. It's not necessarily always a pub. I mean, we have the tea room between Monday and Wednesday. We have the knitting group on a Thursday morning. Lots of other things. And if we can possibly expand it next door, that wouldn't necessarily be a licensed premises. So it would be an open sort of modular space for people to do whatever they wanted. And we're really working on that. Because next door, I mean, there are a bunch of graphic designers, they sit around their laptops. Nobody knows what the fuck's going on there. I mean, they don't tell people what they're doing. I mean, we thought they were a religious cult when we first moved in, They sit around in the dark on the laptops. That's the last thing we want. We want to open up that space and make it more accessible. We want people to get in there and do other things, not just once a month when they decide to do something which is about themselves,
Well, that makes me quite curious, because you've obviously got a good knowledge of the local community, and you're keen to create that and keep it going, and maybe even welcome the newcomers in and sort of integrate. I was curious about thinking, you obviously went straight to North London, a sense of community. What do you think makes that, especially someone who moved to? What did you first think when you moved to North London?
Yeah, so I was really lucky in that when I was moving to London, I just needed a cheap room. So I didn't really know anything about the area. So I initially moved to Kentish Town and I didn't really know anything about the area. It was just when I was searching for flats, came up as a relatively cheap room. So I feel like I was very, very lucky. But I think it's kind of like Kentish Town's one up from Camden. So it's kind of like Camden's older brother. So Camden's obviously had a lot of music and there's obviously a lot of culture there. That's kind of gone up the path, but it's a little bit more grown up and a little bit more community. So you get a lot of street festivals, you get a lot of local pubs. So I like the Pineapple that you mentioned, which I used to live. So I've moved a little bit further up now, but I used to live kind of 30 seconds away. And you know, it is the sort of pub you could go in on your own as a woman, a man, in a couple, and be really welcomed, and everyone kind of knows everyone. And yeah, I think there's definitely pockets of that in London. I think you've just got to be open to explore it and kind of put yourself out there a little bit as well. So maybe take the brave step of putting yourself in a situation where you maybe don't know people and then speaking to people, and then over time you become part of the community. But it's like anything, it's not going to kind of land in your lap. You have to be brave to explore, but then once you get it, it's really lovely.
Does anyone else feel like they've joined a community in London? Have you, when you moved here, did you feel like you've had a natural community that you could find? Did you have to make one for yourself?
I suppose what's striking me about this conversation is the sense of public space and how very crucial that is to building any kind of a community. And I think that's gotten more and more eroded, both by gentrification and by austerity. And I really love the notion of a pub being a public house, and I remember when someone explained that to me, and it just fits so well. It's totally different from an American bar, and I don't drink alcohol, like rarely, well, there are a few exceptions, but I rarely drink alcohol. So when I moved here, like everyone kept wanting, let's go to a pub, let's go to a pub, let's go to a pub. And I was thinking, what the hell am I going to do? Like, do they not want to do anything else? But I was expecting an entirely different environment. And you know, a London pub is a very specific, or maybe it might be just a UK pub, a very specific type of, it provides a certain service, I think, to the community, and I think that having an interpretation of what is provided there to be broader is a wonderful idea for 2019, to get more people in and just to take advantage of the sense of having a public house.
Yeah. Who agrees or disagrees?
No, I think there's a couple of things that will come up here, and one is a sense of security, that people feel safe in a space. But also the question of a welcome and an invitation, I think, is very important as well when building a community. And it's sometimes hard because, like, people, Jerome was saying earlier on, people don't talk to each other in London. So how do you actually even extend an invitation, a welcome, when you can't even say hello to somebody? So it's a challenge, but I think these things are really essential in terms of building a community. I think Tommy Flowers is doing a very good job of that. But it's about people feeling they're invited in and that they're welcome and that they're safe. They're not going to be challenged too much when they're there. And that's, I think that's the beginning, that's the starting point. And actually, then people will contribute because everybody actually wants to contribute. They just need to know a way to do it.
Had some points. Did you want to respond to that?
There's certainly a lot of social isolation around here where people don't feel comfortable in terms of socialising because it's something that hasn't happened for so long. The community centre over the road closes at 3:30. What we got in the evening, we got the chicken shop and the Chinese. There's no real interaction, So this place, surprisingly, has become the focus of the whole community, really, and people come in here and they vent off their ideas or whatever, but we're cool with that. As long as they don't get out of control, that's absolutely cool, So it's become a kind of a focus for information, really, so people come in here to find out what's going on in their very sort of local environment, really. But we'd like to think we have a more cosmopolitan attitude because, look at the end of the street. It used to be the East India Docks. Everything used to come in and out of there from around the world. It's always had that history of immigration, emigration, things coming in, things going out. That's something we really want to celebrate, I think.
Has anyone had any bad experiences with a community or being part of a community or wanted to try and become part of a community and finding they couldn't?
when I start to come, it's the first pub I come, this pub when they open it, I never go other pub. I used to drink a little bit here and here. But when this pub start, I come. And I just see him and people don't like. Before I never see, because I never talk to people before, because I say hello, hello, I just pass away. But I see people make me, they're not racist on me, but they're racist the people walking in the streets when they're sitting in the street. And I say to him, I didn't know you'd be like this. But I take it. And last time I just blow up. I say to him, you cannot treat people like that. And I feel Bangladesh why they're not coming here, because it is, they can come the way he said Gary. They not drink alcohol. If they drink it, they're drinking it. I'm the person, I'm Muslim person, but it's me. I say me and my God. I do whatever I want to do with it. I'm crazy anyway. I don't know why, but it is people like that. You grown up and you be here. I'll say, oh here, my kids all born here. Why you make me feeling different? But it's not. It's the people welcome to you. It's a different. But you can hear pushing out there whatever is going on well now, saying, oh, Muslim people doing that. Why you getting this, that? Why you coming to our country? If I feel comfortable enough, I say to you, why the English people involved in every country in the first place? It's a bad. I'm not agree with the English people who's blowing up, who's people. I'm not blowing up. I'm not agreeing nobody. They're bad people. But they shouldn't be. Culture or religion is nothing to do with it.
So and you say it's the people, and that's...
It's a bad people doing anything. But if you be, doesn't matter what color you are, what religion you believe, it's up to you.
Any thoughts to respond to that? I'll pass it over.
Well, I just think there's a lot of racism comes from just a lack of ignorance, basically. And it's not like, oh, I haven't researched it on Google or Wikipedia. It's because they don't have conversations with people from other races. And the way to actually deal with racism is to actually have friends from those different races and find out more about them that way, I think. Because otherwise you can't really know about those other people. And you're just going to end up, even if you, I mean, quite often we do Talkaoke in a shopping centre or something like that, and you get people that come on and sit down and very proudly say, I'm not racist, but actually that's more of a stance and actually a sort of inquisitiveness about the other races and about other communities and cultures.
Anyone want to respond to that? Anyone sort of have any thoughts?
Yes, I entirely agree that the cure to racism is to actually mix with people, individuals of different races, but I also think that this is the danger of having a very segregated education system, whether it's officially segregated or socioeconomically segregated.
Yeah, so we've got a bit of, there's a bit of a nod there. Do you want to...
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time, sometimes people aren't inherently racist, it's just they maybe don't know any better, or does that make sense? Like, I feel like obviously there are like people that are just not very nice people, and that's that, but I think a lot of the time it's just people haven't been subjected to the beauty of working in different cultures and exploring different cultures and being part of like an integrated community, and I don't really know what the answer is to break that. So for instance, like in my line of work, like I look at my, the team I work in, and it's all very predominantly white middle class males, and I think, well, I would love there to be more diversity, but I don't know how you I don't have the answer to that question, but I think a lot of the time it's just people don't know how to access or how to be more integrated, not necessarily that they wouldn't want to be, if that makes sense.
So we don't know how to have better conversations with people, how to meet more people. So yeah,
kind of become one as such in the community. Yeah, back to your point of like segregation, I think people maybe would like to be more involved, but they don't know how to kind of get the ball rolling or make that happen, if that makes sense.
And I also think the younger that you're exposed to different cultures and different races, the more that it's just going to be life to you, and it's not going to be an issue as you go through the rest of your life.
Fantastic. So we've been talking a little bit about community, a little bit about just small pleasures. So like we kicked off the conversation with small pleasures, and we weaved our way down here. Have you got a favourite small pleasures at the back over here?
I mean, he used to be really huge.
I'm sorry?
Have you got a favourite small pleasure, like a guilty pleasure, or just a nice thing that happens to you?
That would be telling too much, I think.
Nothing at all. You're not, or maybe you don't believe in small pleasures. Maybe you think, no, I need that holiday in Thailand. I need 3 pints, and I need a jacuzzi every day.
Excellent, thank you. I'll take it.
How about the back over here?
That's only a minuscule amount.
What's a bit like a small pleasure or a guilty pleasure?
Oh, which one intrigues you more? Go for a little pleasure. Go for a little pleasure first.
It's got to be just like I don't know, a cup of tea at the wrong time of day.
A cup of tea at the wrong time of day? Well, that sounds like a guilty pleasure to me, yeah. How about a guilty pleasure then? So one that you'll be a little bit embarrassed, but happy to share.
Guilty pleasure would be something like an inappropriate film that you know you shouldn't watch. And you think... Porn! Not that kind of film. No, not that kind of film. No, just something like you think you might... what's the film? Something like 8 Mile. That's a great one.
That's pretty good. Eminem, yes.
But you can't stop watching it.
Fantastic, that's excellent. Anyone else has got a guilty pleasure that they feel happy to share with the rest of the table?
Well, I have a bath every morning and spend quite a lot of time in the bath, reading, checking Facebook. Normally like 45 minutes an hour. No.
Got some people who hate baths over here. Not a fan of the morning bath.
No, I do like baths, but like 45 minutes, I think I would just feel a bit like wrinkled and a bit hot, and yeah.
Yeah, maybe you might end up looking a bit like Mikey actually after this as well. Some new faces. Can we get some names over here?
Mr. Nick.
Mr. Nick. Hello, Mr. Nick. We'll just do a little quick round of the table over here as well.
Rick.
Mikey.
Asha.
Stacia.
Amy.
All right, fantastic. So we're having guilty pleasure already lined up.
No, I want to talk about baths, please.
Oh, okay, yeah. Opinions on baths. I had a bath today. It was delightful. Anyone else got an opinion on baths?
I'd love one, but I only have a shower. So the only time I can have a bath is when I go to my friend's house in France, and they have a bath, and then suddenly, it's now Tuesday, and I started on Monday.
So I'll just fill up the shower in a way. Just
the classic prison bath.
tape it up the side or something.
I've never tried it, Rick. Thank you. But that's no option. I'll get some gaffer tape in.
So when you have a bath, you don't feel like you're just stewing in your own filth. Does anyone have that?
I was going to say, Nick, if you want to have a bath, you can come round my house and have a bath. I'm it's just, a bath, but you're very welcome. Yeah, well, it's turning into it, isn't it? You're welcome to come around to mine. It's only up the road in Hackney. If you need a bath, if you haven't got a bath, you're welcome. Rick's also got a bath, by the way, so you can go to his place if you prefer. Yeah.
Thank you both.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, I'm fascinated by baths because where I'm from, they're for children, and I never had one once I reached like age 12. But then when I moved here, I realized it's a kind of an English standard. But I'm just wondering how many people grew up with a bath only. Maybe that would be interesting. But you think 45 minutes is a bit long in the bath?
A bit long, yeah, but it's interesting how it's developed over time. So my mum grew up north, and she very much remembered having like a tin bath outdoors, and it would be like a weekly treat. And her mum, she was like one of 4, and her mum would fill up the bath, and all 4 kids would be kind of piled in. But she has like really fond memories of them all like warming up by the fire, and it being like a real family tradition. So it's quite interesting how it's kind of you know, we say, oh, I don't have a bath, but it's actually quite a luxury. You know, back then it was literally like outside, and it was once a week, kind of a proper treat. So it is, I guess, quite speaking about, you know, how times move on and stuff. It's quite an indication of how well we have it nowadays, I think. So yeah, it's quite easy to think poor me, but yeah, compared to years ago, we're all pretty spoiled, I think, really.
Yeah, we shouldn't be complaining about maybe not having baths because we might have showers. We've got some new people over here. Can you just let us know your names?
Isabel.
Isabel?
Kira.
Kira. And Kira and Isabel, where do you stand on the subject of baths? Are you pro or anti-bath?
I'm anti-bath.
Oh, tell us why.
They're horrible and involve just wallowing in your own filth. That's my view.
And did you know this from a young age, or is this something that you've come to realise over time?
I came to that realisation. Yeah, it wasn't yeah. Although I think I was split as a bath shower person as a child, but now I'm adamantly pro shower. I can't turn them off though. I know I'm supposed to turn it off, but I can't bring myself to do that, which is really bad.
Oh, so the epitome of luxury might actually just be a long shower instead. Where do you stand on this debate?
I prefer showers. We didn't have showers when I was a child, actually. I have really bad memories of baths. For a few years, we didn't have any hot water. It sounds like we're in the East End. It was in the East End. And so I remember cold baths, and so I have quite bad memories. So showers are like ultimate luxury.
Interesting. So we're really split on the concept of luxury. Hello, new person who's joined. What is your name?
Amit.
Amit, welcome. Where are you guys pro or anti-shower, and if so, why? Showering. Do you like showering? Would you? Two people here. This is a personal question. Do you shower every day?
Sort of 95%.
95%. Shower every day or every other day?
Every day.
Every day. Interesting. Do people think it's dirty to shower every other day? I had an argument with my friend last week about this. I shower every other day, maybe every 2 days if I can get away with it. Asha.
I shower nighttime and morning time.
Oh, twice a day?
2 days, yeah.
Why do you think?
Yeah, every 3 days I get in the bath. Just relax.
And is that shower and then bath and then shower in the evening?
No, I get just bath in the nighttime when I get home. I get shower in the morning.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Mike, you also had some opinions here?
Well, I quite often I go to Cape Town because my family live there, and there you're recommended to have 3 showers a week because they've got a water shortage, and each of those showers is only 2 minutes long.
Wow.
So you've got like 6 minutes of showering to last the whole week, which I think is quite extreme. But, you know, once again, just like what we were saying about food earlier on and how we just take it for granted, we take all this lovely pure hot water for granted maybe as well.
Do you think we should have some, anyone else got any thoughts? Do we think we think hot water is too much of a luxury in this country?
I think we could curb our use. I think we could curb it. I mean, I think it's culture, isn't it? I mean, we don't have to have a shower every day or every other day. We could curb it if we want to, but you get into habits, and there's a culture around hygiene that's quite, you know, problematic, I think.
That are maybe like really into the gym, that maybe, you know, do a lot of yoga or go to the gym a lot. Like, I've definitely got friends that I reckon shower twice a day. If they'll get up, shower before work, and then go and do like a gym class after work, or like a hot yoga or something that you're going to sweat a lot, and then they'll shower afterwards. So I think there's probably more people, like probably this group of people shower less, but I think if you were to like survey London, a lot of people I reckon would be showering twice a day. So really quite excessively more than what they need to be.
So maybe we're a bit too excessive about cleanliness.
No, I think it's very individual and probably also genetic, that you have to like monitor how much are you going to be imposing your personal odor on other people. I feel strongly about people going on public transport unbathed. That I do not like. I think it's a terrible imposition, and that people should take a bit more care if at all possible.
I just heard from a friend that in prison you can only shower once a week.
Do you think that?
A friend.
Well, of course. I have friends from all over the world in different places. Oh, was it you? No.
Is that fair? Only being able to shower once a week.
Back home, we used to. Today it was raining. I was saying, "Oh, it's wet day again." But when I was kids, I used to laugh it back home, just run around the rain and get to wash yourself. And when you wash it in your own home, you wash it in the bucket to put water and just washing that. But in this country, when it's winter, you cannot go cold water. But maybe summertime, sometimes summertime I have a cold water. But it is the winter when it's so cold. How you can get cold water?
So we need it.
We need it. Yeah, that's the way we survive in it. Not too much using wasted water, but that's the way we survive in it. When it's the summer, you just want to cool down yourself, get cold shower or cold bath. But winter time, you cannot do that. You get sick.
That's fair enough. Hello, newcomers to the table. What's your name?
Loretta.
Loretta.
Yes.
Fantastic. And we'll introduce ourselves over here. So, guys, we've been talking about many things today. Mostly I've been sort of suggesting them because I like to know about people's bathing habits. Has anyone got any other anything happened to people today that they've been a little bit angry about, maybe incensed about, they want to bring to the table to discuss?
Yeah. My arrival.
at the pub.
I've had a big discussion today about how charities don't necessarily use their money properly and they waste a lot of money. I don't know if that's too big a subject.
What were people saying that they were wasting it on?
Just the way they organise their charities and the way they pay people is not necessarily the best use of the money the charity is given. So I just wonder, I don't know if that's a...
Yeah, does anyone... Mike has definitely got some opinions here.
I've got nothing to say about that, but I'm just saying I get really annoyed by the charity muggers that always get you to sign up to... The chuggers that always get you to sign up to a direct debit. And I feel very sorry for them, and I like to talk to them because I just think they've got an awful, awful job. But I think it's quite perverse that you've now got people stopping you in the street asking for professionals, not just like beggars, but actually, effectively, they're professional beggars.
You see, yesterday, the ovarian cancer action, it was Ovarian Cancer Day yesterday, and they gave 60,000 white roses out across the country. And unfortunately, Theresa May she wore one in Parliament for question time, which is a bit, sorry, for PMQs. But they gave them away, and they didn't ask for any money. And they didn't have any buckets, they couldn't take any money. So they gave them out at all the stations where all the chuggers normally are. And people were like, can we give you money? I said, no, you've got to take the card and do it online.
Interesting. But was that the biggest thing that Theresa May said that day?
It was, I think it was the most tweeted thing that day.
Do you think this is a good system?
Of not giving cash?
It's not about, I think that was more about, I quite agree that being hassled for cash is a horrendous thing. This was more about promoting a charity in maybe a better way. You know.
Anyone else? Asha.
It's the people working in the charity. I know somebody working in the one is coming TV or the thing is they're taking getting every month 40,000. And we people giving it our cars, send that money, saying they give the poor people. The poor people, they're not getting that money. How you work in charity? Are you getting it most of the money yourself?
So it's a high salary. So
yeah.
Maybe high salaries for CEO for charities. This is a questionable thing.
Yeah, you saying that you helping people and the people give some money, but you getting 40,000 a month.
Should we be paying charity CEOs?
I think if it's just buy things they need the other country and give them, or they send somebody and leave that country to buy the things they needed it. Because you don't know, you give people money, you don't know if they're getting it. But you're paying wages for this person getting 40,000. It's a rich person and it's working charity. How you can work charity and you're getting all the money yourself?
I know, it's a good point. So what do we think about charity CEOs? Anyone else over here? Got any opinions?
maybe controversial opinion about charities.
We love controversial
and that is
opinions.
that they. I have a problem with charities as a kind of idea because it feels like they're filling in holes that shouldn't be there, because the state should provide for ovarian cancer treatment, for example, and that should come through taxation. And I think charities actually perpetuate a really kind of damaging culture.
I'm going to go here and then here.
Well, last weekend I was filming the London Marathon, and that to me was a very emotional experience, because most of the people that run in that marathon are running for a charity, raising money for a charity. Quite often it's like a cancer charity or a heart disease thing, and it's one of their relatives or a very close friend has suffered from these diseases. And to me it's not actually about raising the money, but about wanting to do something. Like I've got a friend whose mum died of cancer, and her dad always runs in the race, and it's a lot of it is about trying to deal with they're kind of running the grief away or running the loss away. But it's, I mean, I kind of agree with you that charity's filling a gap that shouldn't be, but also it's doing something else in this circumstances, which is providing this kind of avenue for people to express their love or their grief or something else.
So as a form of catharsis, you're going to jump in.
So I kind of have also a bit of a controversial view in that I completely agree that, you know, the kind of whole concept of charity should be kind of helped elsewhere. But equally, I kind of think, you know, if you're a CEO of a charity, that's a big job. Like, it's not a job I would personally want. It's a lot of hours, it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of pressure. And there's a reason why they're paid those salaries. So if you were a CEO of any other company, you would be paid an equivalent salary based on your workload and the stress, and it wouldn't be questioned. So I think the blame shouldn't really be made on an individual at that level. Like, they're just doing their job, and I'm sure it's not an easy job. The blame should more be shifted on, well, why do we need charities in the first place? Why do we need people being paid those salaries to do those jobs? But I think, you know, it's not an easy job. They're not. So I think saying, oh, you shouldn't be paid 8 grand to be a CEO isn't probably the right way to look at it. It's more like, well, why do we have to? And also saying to an individual, you should take on a CEO role and all of that pressure and all of that stress, but only be paid 20 grand because it's a charity. Well, that kind of, it doesn't make sense, because then you're asking someone to do, you know, a hell of a lot for very little, and that's probably going to put them in a bad situation as well. So I think, yeah, we kind of need to shift the blame.
So we need to sort of remunerate sort of workload or stress with money. I think both of you had some points over here.
Yeah, I generally quite agree with Isabel that these things need to be really a taxation issue, and that they need to be in the hands of a very stable state program that transcends, you know, different party changes and that kind of thing, and that's pretty sacrosanct in society. I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize about America is the reason that religion is so entrenched is it's providing almost all the social services. It's being farmed out, and religions are tax exempt for that reason, because that's seen to be, okay, you're providing this, but it has totally been taken away as any kind of a state responsibility, and this is really quite dangerous, because there's obviously a very overt agenda behind that, and it's something that I think obviously here it's not the same, but I've never understood why there needs to be so much visibility to donate to a charity. Like these things of, let's have a coffee party. Like, if you want to give some money, just give some money. You know, why are you having a party about this? Like, have a party about something else, certainly, or have a party to cheer up a person that's ill. That would be great. But this whole thing of, like, you know, let's make a festivity out of it, I don't like that, really.
So jump in on that one.
And I think as well, there's that subjective element that charity donation always relies on, means that some causes get more than others because there's a deserving poor and an undeserving poor, or there are people with illnesses that you might not feel are, you know, entirely, you know, sent by fate, you know, that somehow they're involved in their own kind of problems. So I think it's just fraught with problems, the idea of who donates to what, and the kind of emotional kind of freightedness of the nature of charitable kind of calls for donations. I just think the whole thing is really problematic.
And you want to jump in over there as well?
Yeah, and just I think someone mentioned, I don't know if it was yourself, about someone running for the cause of a charity, and I have like massive issues with this, and I think it's great, but also now there's so much pressure on you have to raise a certain amount of money. So it's like, so say I said, oh, okay, I'm going to join the London Marathon and I'm going to train and I want to run the London Marathon, and I think that all of my friends will donate £1 each and I'm going to be able to donate £30. To me that should be enough. If it's a charity, it should be like whatever you personally can afford, and if you're willing to give your time and effort for free, you should be able to do something for that charity that you want to, and just be able to donate what you can. But a lot of these things, be it the London Marathon or climbing Kilimanjaro or whatever it is, it's like minimum £600, minimum £1,000. You have to commit to being able to raise that amount of money before you can even do it. So automatically you're only appealing to a portion of society that can afford to commit to being able to raise that amount of money. So automatically you're alienating a hell of a lot of people that probably want to be involved in charitable causes, and also surely it goes against the whole point of charity that you're saying to someone, in order to be able to be part of a charity and donate, you have to commit to raising £600, which is a hell of a lot of money to most of us, to anyone.
So it's almost like charities become elitist, that people are being...
Yeah, because it's like you have to know that we'll say no one donates, I can afford personally, out of my personal funds, to fund the rest of the £500 if only my friends and family give me 100. So yeah, exactly, already it's alienating people, so already it's kind of going against the whole concept of what charity should be about. So that's one thing I really have like personal issues with. I just don't understand it or think it's right at all.
Have you got any thoughts on this?
I agree.
I mean, you said people were talking about it at work today. Did it?
I agree. I think my problem with it is, as a manager, I feel really bad to ask for charity, ask for money, because I feel that people are obliged, and we've all been there. Well, anyone who works in any business is asked for money by a peer for money, and you think, well, I may not like the charity, or I may not have any money, but there's peer pressure to do that.
Well, what if you work for a charity or public service? Do you still need to give to charity? Because you're not in business. You're already doing your bit in your job.
Oh, so if you work as a charity, you shouldn't have to give the charity as well. You're giving them out.
I'm
Wondering. Well, I'd like to throw it out there.
I mean, I think there's a question about love, really. I think because a philosopher once said the state is the enemy of love. So if you work for the state, for example, for the NHS, you're kind of stuck in this bind, because I've been in the hospital today actually, and I saw a lot of people working. They were getting paid, but I don't think that was their main driving force of why they were working there. But I mean, it's a very weird, awkward thing when you want to care and you want to love and you want to express that love, but you're in this huge bureaucratic institution.
But then that gets into a whole kind of wider issue of kind of whether you should ever be paid for what you love doing. So should artists ever be paid for what they do? Should I be paid because I quite like my job? I think I should. Well, I'd like to be.
Should we pay artists? Oh, you wanted your point before.
Yeah, just to say, I think an underfunded state is an enemy to love, not the state as such. So it just depends, if it's actually been given enough love by the government.
So, and then does that mean, so maybe the government should pay artists? Is that the sort of logical? Definitely. Would anyone disagree with that? And
well, there's something about the state wage coming out, isn't there? Certainly in Italy, where they're going to pay people just to do nothing. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. You need some motivation in your life to achieve and get further and realise your dreams.
People only work for money. You don't do that kind of job for money. You do the jobs you don't want to do and the things that are really you're not that interested in.
I work in the spa. I don't do it for money. I do it because I'm trying to create something here. So it's slightly different. It's not to do with my artwork at all. It's trying to create some sort of social semblance, some sort of cohesion within this area. It's a voluntary aspect. To what I do. Yeah. Very time consuming.
And over here.
No, I think I think you've touched on a very sort of, I don't know. I do what I do. We have to get paid in order to do it. So, but it's getting the money is not the motivation at all. It is a kind of love for me anyway.
You have to do something that's sustainable to be able to promote what you want to do. Because you can't, no one's going to give you the money to do it. So yeah, you have to have a sustainable business, whatever it might be, and then you can give to charity or work for charity or do whatever you might want to do.
I'll just say something about that. Ewan next to me, you see, is attempting and getting quite far in setting up a co-working space in Bromley to offer that to people. I mean, do you want to talk about that a bit more and what the challenges are?
Well, in this context, it's about getting some people that have money to pay for a desk or a space to allow people that haven't got any money and want to start a business to come in for nothing and be able to try something, you know, and try and the statistics are that 80% of businesses fail, startups fail, so let them fail and not penalise them financially. Just let them come in and go, actually, yeah, that was a shit idea, forget it, but it hasn't cost me any money, so it's fine, or not too much.
So I think we were talking.
Sorry, I did go to a debate a few months ago about universal basic income, which is what you're talking about, and I mean, it seems like a really great idea, but it's not clear how it would work and who it would benefit. I think it's a really complicated issue.
Can you explain just a little bit more about the concept or what it is?
So universal basic income would be that everyone would be paid the same amount, a flat amount, whatever they did, whatever wage they earned themselves, everyone would get a universal basic income that wasn't, you know, that was a very low, would be an extremely low wage, but would be enough for someone to almost get by on. But you would probably have to work to top it up, but it would stop people becoming homeless, for example. It would stop people falling out of the system, you know.
But then would that mean that rent would become a universal thing? So that would be like that, so everyone paid a flat rate in rent regardless of where you lived in the UK, and so everything would become kind of like a flat structure, right?
Yeah,
a modernised version of like the communist kind of thing, I guess. It's kind of like communism for, is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, and I think that I mean, actually, if universal basic income was going to work, then everything would have to change so radically that actually, if it was just dropped into the situation we're in, it would just subsidise low wages, and that was one of the main issues. It was subsidise low wages, and actually, yes, it does sound like quite a radical kind of socialist communist idea, but actually, the Tories were thinking about introducing it, and they were also discussing that. So, but it is, I think, yeah. And it's, I mean, you can make that argument about tax credits as well, that they do subsidise low income so that employers don't have to pay people enough, and, you know, people don't have the same sort of rights because they're kind of okay. And so there are all sorts of problems. Lots of other things would have to change to make it viable, I think. Yeah.
I'm going to go here and then here.
Well, I actually am in favor of UBI, having read a lot about it, but it is, you know, there are a lot of things that would need to be ironed out, but I think one of the reasons that conservatives are actually behind it is because it is probably the least radical and most realistic option for trying to level the playing field. Because now, for example, to get on the housing ladder, so many people are reliant upon having family money that they did not earn. And if you are from a background that you're just not going to have this extra money coming from anywhere, you're just so extremely disadvantaged for things like that, and things like being able to fund the education that you would like to have, or travel, or these things that people that their families have accumulated that type of wealth are able to easily provide for them. So it wouldn't be perfect, but I think as long as it's introduced kind of incrementally, so that it isn't really an amount that someone would live comfortably on. Yeah. I would probably try, but that you could live comfortably on, and that it's just something that is kind of evening things a bit.
So actually UBI might be non-controversial.
Yeah, I remember being on the Youth Opportunity Scheme in the late 80s, and you will remember that, yeah. So I used that £40 a week to invest in my future. But a lot of other people just piss it up against the wall, man. That's the problem. You know, if it's a guaranteed income, how do you control that? Or you can't control it at all. Yeah.
Freedom. So what something is freedom?
Freedom for your own future to fuck it up if you want.
It's exactly freedom. It's about not being judgmental, isn't it? And just giving people money to do what they want.
We go here and then here.
No, I mean, I think we shouldn't lose sight of what money is. It's just numbers, really. But it's important numbers because that's how things get divided up. So what we're really saying is, should we divide things up in a different way?
I think also I had here and then here as well.
No, I was just going to say it would be really great if we thought if there was a kind of guarantee that introducing that scheme would stop homelessness, then I think lots of people would be really in favour of it. But then the problem is that it wouldn't.
But you'd have to put all sorts of stuff in place, though, wouldn't you?
Then and so because you can't control people.
But why do people piss their money away? You know?
Benefits, is it? It's not about replacing any benefits. It's a different system. I think as soon as you think it's going to replace everything, then it doesn't work.
I want to go over to Asha.
I know a lot of the people is getting a lot of the benefits, sick benefit, caring benefit. There's nothing wrong with them. They're milking the system.
Yeah.
And the people really need the system, they're not getting it.
So the people who are in need, they're not getting it, and there are people who
don't need it, just getting more and more.
And then this is something. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think if 100 people can benefit from that, is it worth the 3 people who abuse it?
I mean, I would argue when we say like people, maybe so back to your point where you say it's freedom, let people do what they want, and if they want to piss their money away, they can. If it was like a universal wage, I would argue, do people piss their money away because they're here and they're like, my chance of getting here is never going to happen. So if you've got no savings and you struggle from month to month, it's like, well, what is the point in even trying, because I'm always going to be here. Whereas if you're here, you're like, well, yeah, I've got like X amount in savings, so I can save and I can. Whereas if everyone's here, maybe that would give people the confidence or like the self boost to be able to save and be able to be a bit more better with money. Because I think the people that do fritter away money, it's because they're so not hand to mouth, but they live month by month that they think, oh well, what's the point in just saving 50 quid? Like, I'll save 50 quid, but then I transfer it back to spend it because I'm here. Whereas if everyone was here, it might make people a little bit more incentivized to say.
So is that gap that is actually the problem? Hello, what's your name? Welcome to the circle.
Hi, I'm Denisa. Really nice to see you and meet you tonight. I just wanted to say, really, I was trying to listen and really understand what's the conversation this evening. And you know what, there's nothing wrong about to give something for the benefit, but not necessarily what you give to other people, the benefit comes back to you, right? Sometimes you give for benefit to others, but don't expect benefit back to you, towards yourself. And unfortunately, the system what's been in place for last many years, there is always abuse. People abusing the system, right? The people they need it most, they don't get it. But the people they don't really need it, or they might need it, but they don't do anything afterwards. They get the kind of benefit to try to bring it back, the society. That I think is the main.
And do you think that's a weakness of the system or the strength of the system?
Pardon?
Do you think that's a good thing about the system? Then actually we've got this benevolent state that gives.
You know what? Any system and anything what is in place has got the pluses and minuses, right? So it's hard to say if it's a good or bad. Everything has got the kind of pluses and minuses. It's just sort of hard.
Maybe not willing to commit
but
to
you know
say
what? The system's been abused. For example, if you go to other countries and about the systems and benefits, it works slightly differently. Okay. In this country, please go for it.
So I would just say that it's really easy that we always say people abuse the system that are, on, I don't want to use the word lower class, but people that are on benefits are maybe abusing the system, so I claim benefits that don't deserve it. And I'm not saying that, but that's generally what people talk about. But what about people that are on 6-figure salaries that are laundering money, or what about Starbucks that don't pay any tax. It's like there is more people on that side of the spectrum that are abusing the system far more than the minority of people on this side of the spectrum that are abusing the system. If no one on that side of the spectrum was abusing the system, then it would be a lot better. There's like so many companies that don't pay tax, so many people. What about all the people that live in Jersey that fly in a helicopter to work in London just so their wages aren't taxed? And that no one mentions that, but yet someone that hasn't got anything, that's maybe claiming a benefit they shouldn't, is that really affecting the money we have as a UK to spend? No, it's not. But is Starbucks not paying tax affecting us all around this table? Absolutely.
Fantastic. I'm going to let you respond on that one.
Yeah, I agree completely with what you're saying, and I think there's a really skewed kind of idea of what abuse is, and also I think the numbers of people abusing the system are wildly inflated in people's minds. I think it's very rare actually, and I think if people are trying to get a bit extra, it's because they're desperate. It's not like people are living in luxury and claiming. I mean, that's just not what's happening at all. People living in luxury who are scamming the country, laundering money, involved in quasi criminal activities, British Virgin Islands,
And also at that level, it's about the education as well. Some people not even realizing if there is something what they're doing bad. I mean, I'm talking about the lower level, about the benefits and all that. Some people are not even realizing it. They're just being introduced to this, like how you get away with things, but they are just not educated enough that there is something more they can do, or they could kind of put the effort in. Sorry, my opinion.
I've got two people that to explain. So
Absolutely, that's fine, of course. Has anybody been following the story about the Crossrail drivers who are being paid all this money and they're not even driving any trains? And that is a huge amount of money that's being wasted. And because it's a private company, they can't be transferred to other train companies. They could be driving other trains. It's a huge amount of money that's being wasted because Crossrail is being so delayed. It's so disappointing. But it's a big vacuum of money, And when you compare that to somebody who's trying to get their disability benefit, it doesn't compare, It's just like a fraction of what's being wasted. Yeah.
So our attention is being focused to the wrong people.
Who's milking the system? Richard Branson's milking the system. He's milking the train system, the NHS system. He's milking all the systems. He got 200 million because he didn't get the NHS contract and he sued the NHS. So he took 200 million out of the NHS. He got money from the train services that he then he then withdrew. So, I mean, that is somebody that is seriously milking the system.
Exactly, and that's where the problem.
I'm going to squeeze over here.
Listen, it's a bad people can get in whatever they want it. That what she said, that is when you're working so hard and they take your money taxi and giving people don't need it and they lie in it. We got this wrong with this us. We wrong with this us. And people needed it, they're not getting it. Because not a lot of the country. We come from Muslim country and nobody give you benefit. Nobody give you housing benefit. You work your hard life. Everything you want, you're working for that. Your medication, everything you work in it. But this country is some people can milk it, and some people cannot milk it. But if you're a good person, you cannot get a lot of the things. But if you're bad, you can milk the system, and it shouldn't be fair. Because you're working. My husband working 35 years here. He died heart attack. And now we're fighting his pension. Give us his pension, but they don't give us. But a lot of the people don't save with the benefit they get. This benefit here, caring and this thinking it. And you're thinking, what's going on here?
So it's more like you can still see an injustice in the system as it is.
It's just a system, because I know woman is single mother is working hard, but she's paying the rent and she feeds her kids and she is starving it. And this country you shouldn't starving at all. They shouldn't take all this taxi and give them people never work. It doesn't matter what color they are. If you need it, and you cannot afford it, and you're sick, you cannot afford it, not working it, you have a right to have that. But it's I give up.
there we go. Let's go straight to Mikey.
I think it's about the motivation, right? When you see these guys, you actually voted them and be in power, look after the people, and they just ruin it all. And the people are not blind, they can see it, right? And if they are not the right example, what they say and what you're supposed to be the right example and lead the rules, policy, law. And if the normal people like us, they cannot see it from them, obviously you don't want to follow the rules. They abuse in the system, so why not us to abuse the system?
Oh, so you're saying this is a call to action that everyone should start trying to abuse the system. No, I've thought of sort of one idea that we sort of missed.
Yeah, so I actually don't agree that there are a lot of people abusing the welfare system here. I think it's an emotional issue that's being leveraged politically. I think if you actually look at the money that's going in and out since 2012, since austerity, there are people that have been cut off the rolls, benefits have been cut back to the point of real crises, and that was agreed from an independent UN.
There. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Stacia.
Stacia, where do you work? I just would like to know what's your background, how you can be so sure, how you would back your opinion.
Certainly, yes. I am a freelance writer, but I used to work in the state education system, both in America and here. I taught at a state secondary boys' school in the East End, and so the students and the families that I was dealing with were largely on benefits and living in housing estates and this sort of thing.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I don't agree that there are a lot of people abusing it. I think
I'm
that
not saying a lot of people, there are some.
No, well, I think it's good. I think what we come to this table to have some good opinions. I like how juicy it's get. We're going to finish the point over here.
just on a pragmatic level, even if you think there are a lot of people abusing the system, it takes so much money to track them down that it is not efficient to spend the money that way.
Oh, I didn't know
So we might actually have to become logical about how we sort of put our passions.
I think when talking to an NHS employee in the last election, Theresa May said there's no magic money tree that we can shake to make money. However, I thought this was a little bit disingenuous because the way that money is produced in this country is that the Bank of England simply writes a cheque to create money, or the other way that money is created is that banks can make loans based on their assets, as long as they can loan out, as long as they have 10% of the assets they loan out, they actually create money. So there may not be a magic money tree, but money is just created from nothing. And so, I think we're all having this discussion about money, but what we're really talking about is not money, because money can be created from nothing. I could start a currency now, but no one would believe in it. What we're talking about is how resources get apportioned.
Ash, are you on your way out?
I'm going out.
Can I have some final thoughts from you? Thank you for bringing so many topics as well tonight.
Just enjoy yourselves. And be happy. Life's too short.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Just going to what Mike, you were saying, money is not real. It's an illusion. And I'm interested that we're all buying into this concept of money, but it doesn't actually exist. It's not a real tangible thing, as you were saying. So why are we all in the thrall of this kind of concept of money? What is it?
What is it?
What is it?
What is it? Anyone agree? I feel like I disagree. Is anyone here?
Same as skill and experience. So, it's a commodity. So it's made up.
But money isn't a commodity. It's some kind of value to the commodity. Yeah.
I was actually quite curious just before. Lots of people were jumping in, but actually I think you had a thought just in between times.
Oh, before currency was invented, it was IOU. So IOU.
Exactly. There's a thing on
bank. Yeah.
So before that, we just had IOUs. We didn't even have cash or cards or contactless.
Can you just repeat the topic? What's the conversation now?
Oh, we're talking about whether we believe in money. So whether we think it's something that we need and that we can, or is it just something that we can print and just start our own? And in this pub right now, we can start creating our own money and bring it out to the world. Do you think money has that sort of power, or do you believe that we still need?
Honey, you need money. You need money, that's for sure. Sorry, unfortunate.
And what do you need money for?
Money is not real, but nowadays, in this current world, how you live in and where you live in, you need money.
So how can we need it? That's what I'm struggling.
What do we need? What do we need money for?
I think you're born in the wrong time, wrong place. If you say you don't need the money, but you need the money in this world nowadays.
Wait, before we get too heated, we do have some new people at the table as well. So could I just get some names?
Hi, I'm George.
And we're going to go around and this way.
Amy.
Denisa.
Stacia. Isabel. Kira.
Mikey.
Amit.
Loretta.
Ewan.
Fantastic. And hello, everyone. I'm Evie.
What's your name? Abby.
I'm Evie, EVI, yes. So we were getting a little bit heated just then about whether we believe in the concept about money, whether we think it's useful, what do we actually need money for, whether that's in London, it's on life. Any thoughts? Just to sort of kick us off with that thought.
Well, if you're actually printing money, what you're doing is printing debt, right? You're actually forcing people to, or forcing someone to be in your debt. Whether you call it money is a separate thing.
Okay, so who is in debt?
I'm massively in debt, but this is the thing, like tonight's bar bill, not everybody, don't get excited, but the drinks that I have, I'm paying with my credit card, and somebody gave me a credit card. I haven't actually earned that money. It's just simply somebody is willing to trust me enough that I will eventually pay it back one day. I could die tomorrow, and then who knows what happens to that. But yeah, but I've just managed to convince the banks that I am trustworthy enough to take out that kind of debt, and that's how I live my life. But it's not. In the end, it's just a number. It's actually about your personal trustworthiness, according to the bank.
So money is trustworthiness.
I mean, I think that the idea of money being debt is a really important way of thinking about it, because you are encouraged to get into debt, and you are kept in debt. Actually, the banks know you'll never pay it back. They know you'll, and that's how it works. And so you end up paying more than you've borrowed over and over again, and so you're all kind of enthralled to a system of debt. I mean, I have an overdraft. That's the only debt I have, because the whole thing's so frightening. But even that, you pay so much to have an overdraft. I'm never going to pay my overdraft off. I don't think I can't. It's just money, and I think that's how our money system works at the moment. So
we want. I'm going to go here and then here and then here. There we go. And then here. This is such a juicy topic.
It's like two things. I think first of all, it's like money is debt completely. But then when you think of things like your rent, like we all have rent to pay, and in London it's so inflated. It's like no matter how much you earn in London, you're never really going to be in a luxurious position unless you're, in that top kind of 20%, because rent, everything's so inflated. So I think it's probably situational. And then secondly, back to your point of the banks wanting you to be in debt. So I'm actually very fortunate that with my job I actually have so I have a credit card, but it's to do with work, so I kind of submit travel and stuff expenses. So my credit cards in credit, but because of that I get so obviously the bank doesn't know, but that's why I have a credit card. So literally monthly I get a letter to say, oh, you're now eligible for a loan. And even I didn't need a loan, but I'm like, oh, I could get a loan. Oh, that sounds quite cool. I don't need a loan, but it's really interesting how you get lured in. And then my third point is I think it comes down to personal. So someone like yourself, you're like, okay, I'm allowed a credit card, I'm going to spend on the credit card, and that's cool. Personally, I would find that so stressful, and I would get so much anxiety from that. So I think it comes, like my friend Laura is the same. She, maxes out her credit card, and it doesn't bother her at all. So I do think it comes down to personal.
So it's like your attitude to debt almost, whether you're happy with it. Yeah.
Like how you, and you have to kind of acknowledge that yourself. But if you're happy and there's no right or wrong at all. But if it's going to impact your mental health, that is something that you're going to worry about and stress about and be anxious about, then obviously that's not a good thing. But if you can take it in your stride, then why not? I would be very much open to it. I'm just saying you have to kind of, it's like anything, like, is it serving you?
Is it serving you? Is it a risk? Is it a risk too much to take?
Well, I was going to say that you're not actually a productive member of society until you've got debt. That's when you become productive. That's the value in each individual, is when you start taking on debt. As until then, you're not really contributing. So it's all about debt. So you have to get into debt to be kind of a productive member of society. That's a bit messed up.
Isn't it even like if you want a mortgage or something, like they base it on if you've got a credit card or you're paying it back. You don't have that, you can't get something, right?
Credit, like good credit rating is based on you having taken credit out. So if you've never taken credit out, you've got a bad credit rating.
Pay it off if you have a credit card and you pay it off every month. That is not a good credit rating as someone that went into debt and paid it off. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm learning things. I've got in the blue over here.
And the sneaky thing that Barclaycard do is, have you noticed if you pay your bill off every month, say 22nd of the month, whatever, because if they track you being a good payer what they will do is they'll bring your payment date forward to catch you out in the hope that on the average they'll have you miss a payment. But basically, my big point here is they bring the date forward. Yes, they bring it forward on purpose so that on the average they will catch out a certain amount of people. One thing to remember here is that things like credit cards, the pension system, mortgages, they're all there as infrastructure allegedly to serve you, but they're just there to extract as maximum money out of as many people as possible. This infrastructure is not there to serve you, it is there to serve the financial system.
Should we keep all of our money under our beds?
I mean, I see it the other way around, really. I think, going back to the question about benefits and universal credit, the way it's going to work in the future is that it will just be credit. So when you get your universal basic income, that will just put you further and further into debt. So you'll just get, when you're born, you'll just get like a blank credit card that you will just use up your whole life.
So, have we got a system where we are just in credit?
The credits, yeah, credit cards. Okay, cool. I never want to be involved with this bloody credit cards. I feel for you guys, okay? I was growing up in the family when you cannot afford it, we don't have it. Why would you pay more for loan and all that? Yeah, fair enough. But I moved into this country with the vision, buy a property. If you don't have this credit card and history check and credit card check, it's harder to get a mortgage. I was like, okay, let's have a credit card, whatever. I work for a bank, I'm sorry. But for a bank I'm proud of.
And are you proud?
And yeah, I am actually. We support the poor kids from poor family, but they've got really good grades and potential, and we support them. We pay for the education. We pay for the environment. We trying to reject any large corporates. They do it in the heavy industrial, which are not friendly with the environment. It's just, anyway, doesn't matter. I got the credit card, and you know what? I'm not spending as more than I can afford, just to make the credit and la la la. It's up to you guys. You don't have to spend it all, what you can afford. And you know what? It's up to you how much you spend, how much you can afford. Everyone can make the living. Everyone can. It's up to you. And you know what? I know it's hard to say, but it is. Or maybe you don't really.
So many things to unpack there. Fantastic, thank you. I've got one response here.
So I'm kind of like slightly segueing now, but I do agree that like what you spend on a credit card is how risk willing you are, and it's your choice, and yeah, exactly. But I do agree, like, actually, if you're trying to think of your future and trying to save your money, there is no guarantee. So if you think about a mortgage, so someone that actually maybe is quite risk conscious, that isn't going to want to take a credit card, that isn't going to want to spend more than what they earn, and is going to be quite, okay, I'm going to keep within the rules, but I'm going to fund into a mortgage, pension, sorry, not a mortgage, a pension, because, you know, when I retire, like, and look at, what was it, BHS? And it faults at how many people have paid, and probably actually paid more than what they needed to, into their thing, yeah. And they actually thought, okay, well, rather than taking a credit card, I'm going to put my money into a pension, and that'll be my safety net for when I retire. And then it's gone pop. So actually, it's kind of like, yeah. So it's like there is a certain amount of accountability for our own finances, but equally, when you try and be, what's the word, safe. You know, try and kind of set yourself up for the future.
Yeah,
there's no guarantee. And like my mum's cousin, her husband paid into a pension all of his life. The company went bust, lost his whole pension. So it's like, even when you try, yeah, and it's awful. But I think it's definitely something we should talk about. Again, it's blame culture, isn't it? You're bad with money because you have a credit card. Well, actually, if I'm trying to be good with money and pay into a pension, but there's no guarantee. Yeah. So am I better putting £20 a month into my bed? Yeah, rather than paying into a pension, like you made a joke about it, but actually I would argue, well, rather than me paying £20 a month into a pension, am I better not going into any pension and drawing out £20 a month and literally putting it under my bed? Like, I know you meant it as a joke, but it's like, is that the better option? Is like, I'm going to squeeze over here. We've got many responsibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I feel like that, you know, the system is stacked against people, actually, and that's how it works. And I think there's no attempt at a kind of communal, long-term thinking about how money or how assets can be kind of invested properly for the good of everyone long-term. And I think even if your pension, even if the company doesn't go bust, pensions don't pay, and pensions are always ripping people off, and it always ends up with people getting less than they thought. I mean, even in situations where you feel like your pension is, you know, like teachers' pensions, for example, the government has decimated those recently, you know, and teachers have been paying into those pensions for 30 years, and then they don't get what they thought they were going to get. And also, I think not everyone can. Just to pick up a point, I don't think everyone can earn a living. There are some people that can't earn a living for whatever reason, so disability or mental health problems or whatever. There are people that can't earn a living, and they need to be looked after. So.
Fantastic. I think, are you on your way out? I'm going for a cigarette. That's okay. Otherwise, I was going to ask you some final thoughts, but I'll pause on that one. We have been going for a while, haven't we? I think, should we start to sort of wrap up? Maybe have some. Should we have a little swap around? Yeah. Yeah, I think we've gone through some big topics. So we're going to do some final thoughts.
A break?
Some final thoughts, and by the time that Mike said we should be ready to swap around or have a cigarette.
I was just thinking how, you know, obviously this is very kind of now, we're talking about all of our money and our lives and being in London now, but when, is it Mike said about, you know, it being a kind of con trick and essentially, you know, persuading a bank to give you credit is kind of it's a performance. It's about kind of convincing people that you are credible, and and that really made me think, God, this is so Dickensian. This is so kind of like the idea that, and so we're in this weird kind of, and so it's kind of really Dickensian and Thackeray, and like everything's really precarious.
Mary Poppins, where it's like the bank, the original Mary Poppins, you know, when he wants to take his penny out and the whole system collapses.
So it's very sort of backwards looking, but at the same time we're getting to this situation where there won't be any money to put under a mattress because everything will be sort of, you know, whatever that's called, you know.
Digital.
Exact. No, what? Like hands-free kind of. Contactless. It will all be contactless, so there won't be any. Literally, it's like Apple Pay or so. I mean, I mean, that's just like something. I do contactless and stuff, but the whole Apple Pay. I've definitely got friends who pay on their phone who have an app and yet they don't use money at all.
Final thoughts on the future of money.
Just to end with a prediction for the future. I don't know if anyone's read Cloud Atlas, but so where actually you're fitted with a chip, and that you won't be let into places because they'll be able to read whether you've got enough money or not, Or, yeah, it is already happening.
Like places where you can't, can't play cash. You've got to have a debit. Who's that excluding? Who doesn't have debit cards?
Buses, yeah, contactless buses now. Final thoughts on the future of currency or future of our money?
Well, my overall thought on this topic is that student loans prime people to be in debt for life, and that is the basis of that scam.
Yeah. About education and getting loan for education. Education is supposed to be for free. Years ago, they supposed to let any young people get education for free, because that's what we want, right?
Well, yeah. So
generation be smart, know how this world operates, how to be good to people.
So thinking about that,
supposed to be for free as it used to be years ago. If you well, obviously we don't remember because we are young generations, but still, this business stinks.
Oh, fantastic final thoughts like that. This business stinks. Final thoughts on the future of currency, the future of debt.
Yeah.
Just,
I think there's no easy answer, is there? But it's nice to know that we're all kind of on the same page, that we all collectively agree that it isn't great or right at the moment. Yeah.
Fantastic. Any final thoughts? We'll just go around these two and then I'll swap over with Mikey.
5 minutes break, thank you.
I haven't got really too much more to add than I said before, but watch out for the system.
Watch out for the system.
Oh yes, indeed.
Fantastic. And we're about to swap over with myself and Mikey, but so could you guys just start off by introducing yourselves?
My name is Fritz Schultz.
What was that?
Fritz Schultz.
My name is Alessia.
Alessia? Yes. Fantastic. And then what's your name?
Mikey.
Fantastic, and I think we'll swap around with that. My final thought. Always wants a final thought.
Because I don't get to say my opinion in the middle of the table, I would like to have my final before I jump in the middle. Personally, I just think, as I was saying before, it's all just numbers. Money is really about how resources get divided up in the end of the day. So, it's obviously it's unfair, it's unjust, but you've got to be able to, you've got to be able to play the system. We shouldn't be moralistic about this. It's just it's just how you can persuade people to give you more resources, should you need or desire more resources.
Fantastic. And then with that, thank you very much, everyone. We'll just take a short break and then swap over.
Okay, let's give everybody a big round of applause. Janisa, do you feel that we should have a little break? Is that what you're saying? We should have a little break. Okay, maybe we'll have a little break then. We'll start in about 5 minutes. But Gary, can we put on a little bit of music for the break?